If you've ever had Friday vibes on a Tuesday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It is Tuesday. Benzinga Live Trading is back. You know what that means. It is time to uncover what's going on. Time to make some money. Let's get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks, that is back. It is a Tuesday, but you could even be looking at it as a synthetic Friday because, as a reminder, the market is closed tomorrow for the Juneteenth federal holiday. That means there will be no show, there will be no trading, but there will be plenty of golf. Hopefully you folks find a way to enjoy your day off. Let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to welcome on my main man, 13. 13, you know him. He's always doing research out here. 13, how you doing today?
Don't bother me. No, I'm just kidding. Doing fine. Doing fine. Just trying to get the last of my notes set up. Hope everybody's having a good morning.
Oh, it's better now that we're here. And it wouldn't be complete without news by Nick, who's always giving us the news drops. Nick, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Ryan. It is Tuesday. I almost forgot the day of the week. And it is a busy morning. A lot of news, a lot to get to today. Once again, even though it's summer, we're still trucking along very slowly.
Okay. We'll go ahead and cover that. First, let's start with the SPY here. We're going to pick up from where we left off yesterday. If I zoom in, you can see we talked about this little purple box. In fact, if we look at a 15-minute chart, that becomes a little bit more obvious. We're saying it's eventually we're going to break out of the sideways pattern that we've put in here for 3 sessions. Well, we did that yesterday. We broke up. Given the strength of this market, I suppose that shouldn't surprise anybody. 13 and I were just discussing here, what do we make of the SPY move? And I want to take that question and redirect it to the group here. I'd be curious to know what all of you folks think about about the SPY movement yesterday, and then what that might mean for today. To me, it would make sense that we pull back a little bit, but this market has shown such resilience that I don't necessarily feel confident that is going to happen here today. Now, 13, what do you think here on the SPY?
Well, we've talked a lot about blow-off tops. We've talked a lot about how there seems to be not enough sellers. We've talked a lot about different things that just don't make sense, and this is just another one of those things that at this point for me, it's not really making sense. We're continuing to grind higher, and I was watching this movement yesterday. We continue to grind higher on what seemed to be nothing. We had some Fed speak, we had pretty much nothing else. I don't think that what was being said by the Fed was enough to warrant this kind of move. But it seems that the bears continue to get crushed, and they're all too afraid to jump in and short this market. And if you looked at the price action intraday, you could see that the selling volume was massive, but the price action around that selling volume was almost negligible. After you had that selling, you'd have a huge amount of price action on the buying side, but there was very little buy volume. So at this point, it just seems like there's no room for bears. I don't know what's at this point what's going to turn this market around. I have a couple of ideas. It could be really bad things, but nothing has seemed to turn it around yet. So I'm open to ideas, and I'm open to suggestions. So what do you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we discussed yesterday, we had a gentleman in the happy hour that was saying, why do we feel this way, right? Like the market continues to outperform, continues to show. Why do we feel bearish? And you just can't help it. At least for me, I'll let you answer for yourself and everyone out there. But for me, it's just I've in my time watching this, I know that when things get too extended, they often come back in. It's just kind of the natural progression. I agree with you. I don't know what's going on here that's really kind of grinding us to new highs. But like I said, I'm going to be open to that too. Now, with that, despite the way that I feel about the market, the reality is that I'm going to have to trade this. So if I'm expecting something and that expectation doesn't materialize, it's then on me to make an adjustment for that. So as far as trades here, I'm sitting here telling you I think that the market could come in. Well, I have a plan in case the market doesn't come in, and I want to cover a couple of those stocks here real quick. First one here is going to be TTD, the trade desk. Now, all of these here are pretty much based on chart plays. I'm looking at the trade desk here, and we have we're pretty much at 1, 2, 3. You could even call this a quadruple top right here at this level. We're right under 100. To me, it wouldn't be surprising at all if this stock made a dash for 100, maybe even popped it a little bit. We did come off the 20-day simple moving average here at 95 bucks. If we take a look inside here, you can see that trade desk really kind of holding after that move yesterday. So we'll see. Maybe this is going to be in play today for a shorter term trade. Another one that I saw here is a show favorite here. Everyone seems to talk about this and like this one. Palantir here. This actually is a pretty decent chart formation. Nice little island formation here that took a while to resolve. It looks like it's resolving. 13, we talked about Palantir before we started here, and you said, I can't wait to see what happens at 27.50. And I would agree with that. You know, it's 2.5 points from where we're at. But if we continue to move up there, maybe we actually break out from this Palantir chart. A zoom out gives you an idea of kind of where we're at here. So maybe Palantir on deck here for today. And then from the energy sector, which several people have been talking about. I know Carmen from our show came on to the happy hour yesterday. You were asking a lot about energy. Another play here might be Oxy, right? Oxy actually looks like this is coming off of a triple bottom. I'm not sure what happened here in this candle, so maybe this is just a double bottom. But in any case, looks like we're kind of getting ready to take out some of these moving averages. So a couple of these bigger stocks to take a look at, see what the performance is like today, and see if we can't day trade those for a short gain. Go ahead.
And ultimately, when it comes to the broader market, and I appreciate the other stocks here. I just wanted to mention when it comes to the broader market, ultimately I am bullish, but you need to have these periods of correction because the market does get too extended, frequently. It happens at a rate of about 13 to 14 months between corrective moves in the market, and a healthy market will correct from time to time. We haven't had a meaningful correction, I guess, since October last year. And even then, I think it still didn't move down far enough. So while it does sound like I'm bearish a lot of times, I still want this market to continue to go up. And we're not going to be able to continue going up if we don't have some of these corrective moves happen from time to time. Straight up, that just means that when we do correct, it's just going to be that much harder and longer and worse for everybody that's buying up there. So
yeah,
I just want to see. I just want to see a healthy market.
You're absolutely right, and I am in complete agreement with you. A healthy move up is the one that we want to trade. We just talked about the trade desk kind of butting up against that $100 level. Apple has a similar story here, not as prolonged, but this daily chart sure looks like this wants to test 220. Apple's been a darling recently. This is a little bit extended, though. I mean, we're still about 40 points away from the 200-day moving average. Dandelions in here is saying we just don't want to chase at these levels. I can't blame you for that, Dandelions. I would not advise anyone chase at these levels either. Goes on to say, at the same time, we don't want to short. 13, doesn't that sound familiar? How many times has our happy hour group been like, I wouldn't want to be short this market. I feel like we're gonna go down too, but things just rip. So it's all that kind of balancing act in there. Jay Rice, good to see you this morning. I definitely want to get your thoughts at some point on the U.S. Open and Rory's collapse, but I also want to shout you out. Amazing job trading SMCI last week. Not sure if maybe you still have some of that. Really good trade there, though. Keep us posted on some of your next trades. Okay, I know we're running out of time, Nick. I know you said you had a lot. 13, let's roll through these movers list real quick, then we'll turn it over to Nick for the news drops here. First one I have on the list is ASNS. I just rambled for a whole bunch, so why don't you take this one?
Yeah, so ASNS, this is Actelis Network. I hope I'm getting that correct. What they have is an agreement with Carasoft, which is it's the partner that boosts service to U.S. government agencies. So this is essentially a government contract for ASNS. They have a 3.13 million share float. They did a reverse split last year, so I don't think that's really going to have any meaningful impact on this movement today. I think the big movement is coming from the fact that it has a low float and it has some really good news. How high up this goes, can't really say, but this is a big contract for them, especially since they're only really pulling in about 750,000 a year. So that's what I have for ASNS. Want me to move on to MLGO?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I like this one here. I mean, I think that if we're able to reclaim this VWAP 13, I really don't think $3 is out of the question here in ASNS. So we'll absolutely have this one on watch, especially with the news catalyst in there. The next one here, MLGO. We're actually on the third leg up here. We actually just reclaimed the VWAP. Volume's pretty impressive. What's going on here, 13?
Didn't see any news with this,
Yeah.
and the more I find out about the more I educate myself of what this company is, the more I realize, it's a China pump. So we have a 4.72 million share float. They did a 1-for-10 reverse split on on 22nd of March, and that's really all I have going on with this company. This has been a old ex-girlfriend for several times. We traded this, been in and out. Just understand that this is not moving on anything. So I think this is just being pushed around by China names. So there's that one, and then that we've been getting mentioned for in the chat. It was MLGO. The next one I have is G-Wave, and then I can be done.
Okay.
G-Wave. This one's really interesting to me because they just completed their recapitalization as they were planning. They have a 5.78 million share float. They just did a 1-for-50 reverse split. I'm sorry, a 1-for-150 reverse split on June 3rd. So that's going to have an impact as it's traded changes the trading dynamics of the stock. But what this company does is that it's involved in metal recycling, and they are stateside. I believe they are in Virginia and North Carolina, where they have facilities, and they recycle all kinds of heavy metals and important metals used in semiconductors. So you have aluminum, copper, stainless steel, nickel, brass, titanium, all kinds of different alloys, some rare earths in there as well. This is an interesting company, and I think this one could end up moving pretty handily. These all should move pretty well, though.
Yeah, indeed. Thinking about it, adding here to G-Wave, it gets NAS compliance, big cash infusion, retire debt, and convert shares. So here we go. G-Wave, and this might be moving. Really good job outlining the splits there. 13. Okay, let's go back to some of the other movers here. Marcelo, we weren't going to leave you hanging. Come on. MBio also on the movers. This had a huge move yesterday. Remember, this stock was under 20 cents yesterday, and it's $1 right here. So this, to me, seems like a momentum move. If I take a look here at the news tab in Pro, we did have just that PR from yesterday. I don't really see anything new here today. So to me, it just seems like it's still moving from yesterday. I'd be careful with this one. We have seen some of these smaller stocks have multiple day moves. FFIE really comes to mind recently, but just be careful with these, especially on these penny stocks. That's kind of what's going on here. Nothing new on MBio. Looks like a continuation from yesterday. SILK, this is gapping up, but this is an acquisition, so I don't really think there's a trade here. Let me make sure I get this right. CMTL, this is Comtech Telecommunications. Comtech shares trading higher if the company announced a new $222 million credit facility. You can see here CMTL on decent volume, really kind of ramping into the close, looking like it's going to test $3 there. So we'll see here on CMTL. That's what's going on here. Chegg also on this list here. This popped yesterday. Lynn and Randy, if you're out there, I know you guys mentioned this in the happy hour yesterday. We never really took a look at it. Chegg popped as high as $3.38. Chegg shares trading higher after the company announced a restructuring plan, including a headcount reduction, a brand new marketing strategy, and a dedication of more resources to its international program. So Jay here summed it up pretty well. Restructuring been straight down for months. Maybe this is the bottom. Here's the chart that Jay's talking about. You can see it clear as day. So we'll see here if we actually put in a bottom here. Ticker CHGG. Okay, Nick, I'm going to go back over the big chart. What is the big news that you're looking for here today? I noticed, I'll start with this because I had Apple up. You had said
Yes.
Apple got an upgrade this morning.
Yeah, so Apple actually does get a price target upgrade from
Price target,
JP Morgan. Let me go through my notes. There's so much going on here today. They actually raised the target from 245 from 225 So just watch Apple. It is interesting to note that they say regarding iPhone sales, they're mentioning AI, of course, but they say that they're updating their volume forecast for the iPhone 16 and iPhone 17 cycle following the WWDC event, which laid out a collection of AI features that, in their view, will drive an upgrade cycle that starts with the iPhone 16 launch. That's followed by a cycle peak with the launch of the iPhone 17. They go to 245 and they reiterate their overweight rating. So, it seems that Apple is getting some attention after the developers conference, even though it kind of was a muted event overall, given AI was expected, iOS 18 was expected, and a lot of the other features. So it seems that once the researchers and analysts are processing this information and actually are seeing that a lot of people are going to probably upgrade their iPhones, price targets are probably going to be on the rise within the next few days, weeks, and months to come. I mean, watching the holiday sales is going to be important given the China overall story. We've seen some Apple supplier stories given the China stuff. So seeing how many people actually upgrade their iPhones is going to be very interesting to watch heading into the holiday.
No question. Carmen here earlier saying, I have to say, I am not optimistic about Apple. Will the AI tweaks drive a 10% bump in iPhones? Nick, that's basically what you're saying here. We're going to have to see how that plays out.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if we're going to see these upgrade cycles on the consumer side, and let's say that actually does unfold and happen, do you think that we might see these phone carriers like Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T get a boost as they try to drive those sales by offering subscription deals like to their services? Do you think we could see a boost on their side as well if those sales do materialize like they're hoping?
Yes. At some point, 13, I think there's going to be more discounts that are being offered right now. I know Verizon has been running some deals last few months. I've been seeing the commercials on TV, but I also think to that point is if you trade in an iPhone, they may give you an iPhone +1 or an iPhone plus Watch or something with an iPad, because you do have to have the iPhone 15 Pro just to use AI. So anybody that has a 14 Pro Max, even the base model of a 15, can't use the AI. And that's what people are probably going to upgrade for. But it could also give the retailers a boost given the price of the phone people are going to be spending. And so once you go into an iPhone store, you start walking around looking at the Apple TV. Maybe you want a new watch, maybe you want a new iPad, and the idea of trading. Now, I have an Apple iPad. I have an iPad Pro. I rarely use it. It's perfect condition. Battery holds well. I have it. I don't really use it. Am I going to upgrade an iPad? Maybe not. But I have a MacBook. I have a Mac. I'm going to, of course, upgrade that whenever it's time. It's new since last year. So the idea is I do think retailers are going to eventually get this upgrade. It's just when. Is everybody going to be waiting for the new iPhone 16 to launch? And then how are sales going to be? I mean, is Apple going to be able to keep up with the production? That's going to be a question heading into Christmas.
Another question that I have is how many of these customers are going to have to take out HELOC loans to do all of these upgrades on the Apple technology, as you just listed multiple thousands of dollars of potential upgrades there across all those devices. So this will be an interesting story. Look, Apple here pretty elevated. Looks like we do have a 220 test if this does move today, especially on that price target upgrade. We'll see here on Apple. Nick, what else you got?
Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun will actually be on the Hill today testifying to the Senate Homeland Security Committee's permanent subcommittee investigations. That's at 2 p.m. today. We know that he's facing a Senate panel over ballooning safety and quality control crisis with the plane maker. Boeing is under fire, of course, remember back in January after a door plug blew out of one of its nearly 737 MAX planes during a flight. Actually, we were talking about this 13 and I talking about that GE CEO Larry Culp was actually asked to come and be CEO of Boeing, and he actually declined to do that. There's a new Bloomberg report saying this morning that one of the plane makers, they don't even know that there's 400 pieces missing from parts, that they're just all discombobulated over there. So it's going to be interesting to see the answers he gives to the Hill and how the stock reacts. Look at it on a chart. It's really come down significantly. Heading towards multi-year lows, and it could even go back down to previous lows from 23 and beyond. So just watch Boeing, given all the crises and all the news that comes out of it. believe it or not, there's a Boeing story probably every day on the wires that's negative. I think over the weekend, Reuters had 3 different Boeing stories that were with the plane maker, just all negatively affecting this company.
Yeah, Boeing has had a real tough run recently with some of that headline news. Interesting part about where Boeing is at right now, right here on that 50-day moving average, just slightly above it.
And
so
you can draw a trend line to see where the price is going to break down. If you start at the very bottom of that, it's in the very bottom of the beginning of May, and just draw.
So right in here, I think you're talking about, and you're talking about this.
Yep.
There you go.
There's your trend line. If you break that, then you can pretty much get an idea that it's going lower.
Yep. Comp says poor management. Simple. Let me tell you something. Poor management will absolutely affect stocks. I know firsthand on that one. Okay, Nick, what else you got?
We actually have news this morning. It's nothing really big, but electric vehicle startup Fisker is actually filing for bankruptcy. Fisker runs out of cash after a failed effort to change its business model and find a financial savior.
I can't even pull up a chart. Look at this.
Can't even pull up a chart of Fisker given the bankruptcy. There was a guy on Facebook. There was a company on Facebook that bought one of their vehicles for like 80 grand, and 2 weeks later, it was marked down to 20,000. So he says that they lost significantly amount of money about EV. So Rivian is your next best option. Believe it or not, guys, I actually saw in a parking lot for the first time ever a Rivian truck and a Cybertruck parked in the same lot, back to each other, just trying to compare them visually. And, I really don't really like a Tesla Cybertruck. I really do like the Rivian Cybertruck, but I'm not a big electric vehicle guy overall. And then there was a new report out of Bank of America saying that once you actually go to the EVs are actually outpacing hybrids. So once you actually change to full electric vehicles, you don't actually want to go back to the hybrid. I actually would prefer a hybrid, given I know a few people that have the hybrids and they love them.
Yeah, and you know what? Phil LeBeau actually had a segment on CNBC earlier this morning regarding the possible market share switch of EVs that is expected to grow as cheaper EV models are released. So we'll see if we end up getting that. One question here on Fisker. Do you folks, Nick, or really anyone else, frankly, do you folks think that this Chapter 11 bankruptcy is going to adversely affect any of these other EV makers? I know you had just kind of talked about Rivian. We've talked about Rivian a lot recently. I know we've looked at Lucid quite a bit. We've looked at NIO quite a bit. You think this is going to have any kind of sympathy impact on any of these other EV makers?
I mean, Tesla's already leading the charge regarding EVs, and so I really don't anticipate this being much of a big breaker. But people maybe that were invested in Fisker, do they go to maybe a Lucid? I mean, even Lucid, there's still some issues. You don't see many of their cars, and they're also having EV issues with production and trying to get to the parts. Even NIO at some point, I think, is still having that issue. So your best bets are either Rivian or Tesla's. I think Rivian overall is doing well compared to some of these others. Now, eventually, it's not going to catch up to Tesla. Tesla's already in that area, and it's far ahead of EV makers. But watch Ford and GM. Maybe some people transition over to Ford and GMs, given a lot of new cars are being rolled out that are electric and hybrid. We'll see how the hybrid versus electric story goes. It is going to be one to watch heading into the months and years to come to see what happens if you fully go electric, if you fully go hybrid, and what the EV discounts are, because we do know that a lot of discounts are being priced right now by car makers, from Tesla to Ford to GM. They got so much inventory. They're just trying to get the cars off the lots.
I think it's really important that we re-examine what has happened to the entire. Let me back up. Remember back in 2020 when this whole EV and electrification craze arose, and people were saying, "Oh, we're going to replace internal combustion engines. We're going to move away from fossil fuels. It's going to be sunshine, rainbows. It's going to be wonderful." None of that materialized, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want you to look and see what all these different EV stocks, all these different ESG stocks, and everything around that whole craze from 2020 to 2021, maybe even 22. That's completely changed now. And so too will this whole craze around AI. It's going to follow the exact same route. AI is largely overpromised, and it's not going to make the delivery on the things that everybody thinks it's going to do. It's not going to completely replace jobs, but it's going to be an absolutely amazing and robust tool for workers. But I think that we should be very clear-eyed about where the AI trades are going to end up going, because this is very, very much, in my opinion, going the way of EVs.
Yeah, I think that's really smart, 13. I think that's a really good observation there. We should definitely keep in mind it. And, as some of these companies, either get consolidated or go out of business, we'll see how that AI landscape shapes up. Okay, we are open, folks. Let's go ahead and get it. As a reminder, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. I'm actually going to flip over to that right now. We're going to go ahead and actually execute some trades here in the brook. If you need help getting over that 25K day trading threshold, they can help. If you need more dry powder, they can help too. They also give us picks and stuff sometimes. Really good guys. Let's go ahead and get it. What are you folks seeing out of the gate?
Well, ASNS is kind of leaking down slowly out the gate. Same with MLGO. G-Wave kind of holding up, just going sideways at the moment. And MBio, everything's sideways, folks. Everything's sideways at the moment.
Everything is sideways here. Looking at the trade desk, looking like that's coming in just a little bit. We also took a look at Oxy, that moving higher here. Palantir, let's see how we're volatile candle right on the open there on Palantir. See what G-Wave is doing, holding right under its VWAP so far.
Let me see what the SPY is doing. All right, we're going to make new all-time highs again. We didn't make this many new all-time highs when we were making new all-time highs back before 2022. Seemed like that happened a little bit less than what we're seeing these days.
CMTL here right out of the gate. This is one that we watched ramp into the open here. Looks like this is just really kind of going away from the VWAP. By the way, a check back in on Chewy. As I mentioned yesterday, I was stopped out of this position. Chewy might be going higher here. I'm still going to watch this. Still think there might be a move to 30 in here. Just kind of rolling through some of the scanner stuff. Here is ASNS. Maybe this is trying to reclaim its VWAP. What do you folks think about this one?
ASNS. Well, I'd like to see it get back over 250 first.
Looks like it just stopped there as I was bringing it up there, 13.
Yeah, and then I'd like to see it, if we can get back above 250 and hold above there, then the next levels above that are going to be 275, 390. I'm sorry, 295, and then 325. ASTS was rising into the open, and now it's really coming down.
Yeah, actually, I believe Jay commented on that. Let me see if I can find that. Jay, didn't you mention ASTS? Anyway, yes, G-Wave. ASTS, good sale pre-market. I knew I saw that.
G-Wave coming down to their 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Looks like 190 to 195 looks like a pretty decent support area if it gets lower. Palantir just whipping back and forth. MBio getting a little bit lower now. I think it might end up going down to this consolidation from after hours yesterday, down at the 775 area. Smoke Tuna mentioning Mesa, MESA.
Micron here popping out of the gate. MESA, let's take a look. Ooh, it looks like that traded up, coming right back into the VWAP here, MESA.
140 is a level I have marked off here in MESA, and it looks like that's, the big level is trying to get over in after hours and pre-market. So finally did it in the regular session. See if it can hold. So now that I'm going to be looking at it as support. Has to get past 150. There is a pretty large sell order in the way there.
Yeah, I see that one here right on the thing. Chase, how you doing in Chewy, man? You still rocking it? Chase mentioned in Chewy here. We'll see if that continues.
I was going to say GME had their meeting yesterday, shareholder meeting. It was only about 20, 30 minutes. Not really much anything to talk about, just saying that they're going to have like fewer number of stores. They're committed to the business. Really nothing to make of it. Nothing exciting come out of it. I think it was what everybody was anticipating. Nothing real big, too small. Just watch GME, AMC. We saw AMC yesterday get a pop off the record number of attendance and revenue regarding the weekend. So we'll see how GME and AMC do throughout the summer. But, volumes are typically light. Anything can happen.
GME here currently trying to hold 24 as we speak. Relly for you penny players out there. Looks like that's getting mentioned. MBio, former penny stock from yesterday, that just reclaimed its VWAP. Watch for a potential move above 111 here. I think, let me get that actual number for you. 111 right here. Exactly. Here we go. There's actually big size there too. Big offer on that 111 spot on MBio.
ASTS having a nice recovery after bouncing off the 200 EMA. Traded slightly underneath it, but it's coming back up and it's above VWAP now.
The trade desk coming in a little bit. Airship.
G-Wave still going lower. MLGO. Sorry.
It's all right. Didn't you mention Airship yesterday? This is actually higher today over those.
Yeah, it was getting mentioned in the chat by some folks. Anyway, MLGO is going lower. 200 EMA at 425 is next.
CMTL holding right at its VWAP there. Trade desk a little weak here.
CMTL, I'd like to see 415 get. I guess if we're going to be going with what the chat's discussing, I think I see it kiss 415, folks. I like to see it kiss.
No.
We're just talking about technical terms.
Yep. Okay. Chewy here. I'll tell you what. This looking great on the daily. Darn. Sorry, I got stopped out on that trailer on Friday. I did get stopped out at even, though. I didn't want to take any loss on the contracts. So 3/4 of that position were sold for gains, including one big tranche at 100%. Still made money on it, but Chewy here going. And actually, let me bring up this larger formation, because one of the things that I was looking at initially is still in play here. And we'll go to what you're looking at, 13. This formation on the daily looks pretty good. To me, this sure seems like this is going to try and take out 24 here. Ticker CHWY. I have no position, as a reminder.
Right now, I'm watching MBio trying to push through 110. That seems to be a pretty significant level from the pre-market highs. We also have a little bit of consolidation in an area from the after hours in the same one. So, and there's a lot of selling at 110 and 111. So if we chew through that, this could end up getting back up to 118, maybe as high as 130, where the after hours trading went to. On that volume, but it has a large wall to chew through. So that's why we need to see the volume in this in order to get up to those prices. Yeah, I got you, Zippity Doo.
Having fun here this morning. Got a big day.
We have to have fun with how boring this market is.
Yeah, we do. And we talked a little bit about the off day tomorrow. Don't think that here at Benzinga, don't think that we're treating it lightly. We have a packed day for you right here on this channel as well. Of course, we got Anne-Marie from 11 to 11:30. We also have Tech Tune-Up from 11:30 to 12, so stay tuned for that. And then right after Tech Tune-Up, we have the CBOE Options webinar, dive into the world of zero DTEs. So any of you that are interested in that, stick around. That's going to be at noon here. We're going to talk about trading strategies, real-time market analysis, and actionable insights that should help you.
So chat's mentioning SIRI, Sirius XM Radio. I haven't looked and seen what the news is yet. I just actually canceled my subscription.
Yeah, is Jay here mentioning Zach is pushing this one? Jay, I think you mean Zach Morris, right? I didn't see that, but that's good to know in there. SIRI is popping here out of the gate.
Looks like it has a pretty high amount of short interest, almost 25% float shorted, 5.46 days to cover. I haven't seen what this company's been doing lately. It's still bringing in money. So it's not unprofitable. It's actually pulling in good amounts of money, hundreds of millions every quarter. But I really don't listen to XM radio anymore.
Yeah, the only time I ever got into that was with some of those free trials. Option activity on SIRI. Okay. Appreciate that, Jay.
They must be having, Jay, do you know if they've got a contract or a deal with somebody that everybody listens to? You know how Spotify got really big because Joe Rogan got onto Spotify. Are you familiar with Sirius XM maybe talking about bringing somebody in that everybody listens to? I don't know. Like we had Howard Stern's. That's really old news now. But yeah, I'd be interested because this activity is outside the norm for SIRI.
We keep flipping around to some other stocks here. MBio, look at that. It did take out that 111 spot that we talked about. Here it is at 120. Boy, I had it off my screen for too long, it looks like. MBio, nice job. If you're playing that break, part of me would trim some of this and book some of those gains. If it comes back in and holds, you can always re-add. Just make sure you pay yourself on the way up. Nice move here, MBio.
SIRI to be replaced in the NASDAQ by ARM. All right, so MBio chewed through that wall at 110, 111. And now we're coming up to, we're getting close to 130. We're actually above 120 now. Got as high as 125, so that was a pretty good one. The after hours high in MBio is 133. It's possible it could get up there, but this move right here, I'd be selling into.
What ticker? I'm sorry.
This is the one you got on the screen there.
MBio. Perfect. I love it when the plan comes together.
Sell it. I'm sorry, Jane. Selling right there. Bright. I'm sure Ryan would be an immediate subscriber then, right?
I don't know. See, here's the thing. Like, I have a thing about paying for radio. I've had it for free for 40 years of my life. Why am I going to start paying it? I just listen to podcasts.
I mean, I guess the appeal is commercial free. You're paying to not have to listen to stuff you don't want to listen to, which they still got you anyway.
Chewy is ripping here, Jay. 24.30. Big move up here in Chewy at the moment. How's Chegg doing? We talked about that one pre-market. Let's take a look. Chegg, this actually sold off and went higher here. This is looking pretty decent on Chegg. Let's see at the trade desk. This kind of getting bought back too. Might try a little bit of this here and see how it goes.
Ryan, I was going to say, sorry, 13, go ahead.
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we haven't mentioned this, but don't forget Friday after the close, the index that the technology select sector, XLK, will be getting a rebalance. Microsoft will actually go to 21% in the balance. NVIDIA will actually go from 6% to 21% in the balance. And Apple will actually drop to 4.5% from 22% in the balance. Ticker XLK. Wow. It will be adjusted after the market close on Friday based on adjusted market cap. So just watch XLK given the recent weightings. NVIDIA is actually only weighted at 6%, but after it will actually go to 21%. It's like Apple and NVIDIA are flip-flopping weightings.
Wow. I'm not sure what to make of that. We'll watch that one, though, XLK. That's this Friday?
Yes, after the market close.
Okay.
Well, Jane, I think we got this one right. MBio, we were talking about it going to 133 or 130, whatever that after hours high was. But got to 130, came back in. Not necessarily saying that this is done, but that was the trade there for, I believe, Jane, and I think that's when I was looking at too. Going up to all the way up to that after hours level, and coming back in, setting up for whatever's next. But that was the trade right there. So
yeah, I mean, it's this pullback here. This is exactly why I'm saying pay yourself on the way up.
Yeah,
you might get an opportunity to reload there. So, yes, Marben, market is closed tomorrow. It is the United States federal holiday of Juneteenth.
And Mesa, that is popping here still. It's going higher. Had a breakout of the 140 level after it was trying to break out of it in after hours and pre-market. It got it now in regular session, and we're going to, looks like 166 next.
CMTL popping towards the highs here. Tuna's all over it. Look for that 4 pop here.
ASTS still trying to recover a VWAP.
Jay's life, excuse me, likes take two here for a potential swing. Some consolidation over these past several sessions here. Maybe we can swing back up towards 165. I actually like this setup here. Jay's life. Angry Sushi, is the futures market open? You know what? That is a great question that I'm actually unsure of. Let's see if I can find that here for you. Okay. The New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ are closed, as are the U.S. bond markets. The United States Postal Service will not be delivering mail. I don't have anything about let me search just futures. This is a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to this.
I don't think.
It
I
should
don't
be
think
good.
so either. But I want to be confident about the answer that I give
Yeah.
them. So we'll look that up.
Guys, watch AMD. We're getting reports.
Sorry, just to close this out, all U.S. markets will be closed in observance of Juneteenth. There you go. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
I was going to say, watch AMD. We're getting reports that they are moving to session lows right now. Shares are actually moving towards session lows. More news wires are picking up that there's a potential data breach at the company. Going to try and work to see if we can confirm that and see if we can get any sources regarding this. But just watch AMD. It did spike very low at the open, down 1.56%-ish. But watch AMD. More news wires are picking up reports of a data breach potentially.
Okay, that's good. That's a good mention there. I actually didn't see any of that here this morning in my tech channel on TweetDeck. But appreciate that, Nick. Let us know if you can confirm it. You're welcome, Angry Sushi. Great name, by the way, Angry Sushi. I think I'd like to avoid some Angry Sushi, but interesting handle nonetheless. G-Wave here, still right under its VWAP. We'll see if we can take that out. How about MLGO? Ooh, yikes. Big breakdown, MLGO. How's Broadcom doing? That actually is pulling back. How about that? Euro next is open tomorrow. Yeah, I would imagine the European markets are unaffected by our federal holiday.
Sorry, I'm just reading what was all taken from AMD.
CMTL, this is still trying to push towards those highs. Adobe with a decent move here off the open. Smoke Tuna letting us know Pennyland is hot.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Pennyland
massive breach. They have details of what was accessed, and I don't think they have an idea of exactly what was taken, but it says that there's a lot of stuff. ROMs, firmware, source codes, property files, employee databases, customer databases, financial information, future AMD product plans, technical specification sheets, user IDs, job functions, email addresses, employee statuses, first, last names, business phone numbers. That's a lot of stuff, folks.
The list just goes on.
Is anyone surprised that the stock's not reacting to this more negatively?
Well, because I think there needs to be some confirmation on this. This is from this is all from hackerread.com.
Gotcha.
The breach was by Intel Broker, who's a notorious hacker from breach forums. So I think there's just the initial shock. I think the initial movement here is like, oh, it's just probably just not as bad as it is. I think if all this is true, then it really is bad as it looks.
Well, so are we talking about a potential short then?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Okay.
I just don't know how much.
Let us know if any of you are taking this one. That's interesting to me.
I mean, I could say just a guess. 130 is where it could shoot down to. That would be just a guess, though. It's interesting, and I mentioned this before, but the CEO of AMD is cousin.
Yeah,
to the CEO of NVIDIA.
That is interesting. I remember that.
So there might be a little bit of a relationship trade happening there.
Robert saying, I'll try a trend trade to the downside here in AMD. Mike speculating everyone's going to jump off AMD and go to NVIDIA.
It's possible. Or another one of the big tech names, like Apple or Microsoft. They probably might go into all of them. Who knows?
Yeah.
They've all been doing well, those Mag 7.
Rocket Lab here up at the highs. I don't really see a new trade set up there necessarily.
Rick Potter mentioning LICY.
Lycee?
I think this one was traded yesterday.
Indeed. And actually, we're approaching yesterday's intraday high. I've got that spot at 526, 10 cents from where we're at right now.
Yeah. 530 looks like that was where it topped out at yesterday, or 529. So could end up coming right back up there. It's not that far away.
Crow on Lab D again here. That's 2 days in a row for Lab D as that continues to trade up. Nice stuff there on Lab D.
I think somebody mentioned CMTL. And,
that's
that
been hot so far.
That one looks like it's trying to get over 4. Right here. It's like it's trying to push up over 4 again. Excuse me. Might not get that movement. Sorry, might not get that movement. Well, there it is.
There it is. All you had to do was cough, dude. That's it.
Yeah.
And you sent it right through there.
Yep. Just turned my head and cough, and there that thing went.
Oh, that is an old school StarCraft reference right there. Tesla here might be reversing. This kind of coming off the bottom. Let's see if it takes the VWAP out here. There's Lynn. Boring. Where's Hollow for Jolo? I don't have an answer for you. BMO I mentioned earlier for a swing trade. I don't think I have that here in Trade the Pool.
Well,
yeah, I do.
It's flirting with under $1 is where Hollow is.
CMTL pushing to new highs here. I would use this to trim.
Yep, CMTL through that 415 level.
There is some size there at 430, but it's nothing huge.
This could get up to 580, I think.
Okay.
575, 580, yeah.
Rally for you penny players, just reclaiming the VWAP.
All right, ASTS. You look like
Tesla stopped right there at the VWAP.
I think ASTS is might be consolidating to head lower.
Take care of yourself, Jane. Thanks for joining us today.
Take care, Jane. Enjoy your vacation or your holiday.
Smash up the like for our group here. Every day we're hanging out doing cool stuff. Huntington Bank. This actually looks like a decent move off the bottom.
That's my bank. Love them.
Yeah, you know what's fun? My car loan is through Huntington Bank.
They're always so pleasant up at Huntington.
That's the only product I have there, but no complaints.
Airship getting a mention, AISP.
This looks like maybe another leg here on AISP. Rally boom, that penny stock looks like that. It's up 3 cents, man. I guess it is a penny stock, so maybe that's that percent move. Okay.
Not sure how much time it's going to take, but AISP, I think you can make a case that it goes to 5. It looks like it could get going here in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, I just watch AISP to try to push up through the intraday high of 458. I think 5 could be in the cards for this one.
Citigroup here trading to the highs. I'm noticing on CNBC they're showing something that happened, quote, moments ago at the Citi Investors Day. Can't hear what the lady in teal is saying, but stock here at the highs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we got some headlines on Benzinga Pro this morning regarding from the presentation. CEO Jane Fraser saying that they're no longer the financial supermarket of the past. They're getting focused, says the bank is improving controls. They recognize places with where progress has been too slow on transformation. She also goes on to say they are working more intensively on data remediation processes. Cities cites regulatory reporting as area that needs progress, says that the investment banking is winning deals in technology. She also goes on to say that U.S. personal banking adjusting expenses to increase returns. Services, businesses moves $5 trillion daily, expects continued growth after last year's record results. And the CFO also is making comments saying they expect banking to win tech and healthcare deals.
Okay. Purgatory Park saying Nick is on it. You're darn right he is.
Yep.
He's a massive value add to what we're doing here.
CVNA. I just pulled this on my screen just to for giggles. It looks like it's trying to.
Did you say?
Carvana.
Okay.
Okay. It looks like it's trying to get going here. I don't know how far this goes, but it just popped up to 110.95, came back in, and it found support from VWAP, and it's still trying to move back up. I think we could see this go higher than 110.95. Just take a look at it for yourself. Decide if you want to do something with that. The volume isn't great right now, but it looks like it could pull the volume in if it really starts to get going here.
Carvana right at the highs there.
Yeah, pretty close. I'm mute.
No, you're not muted.
Okay,
I hear you fine. Meds is on the march again. That was a super low float. Didn't we see that moving yesterday? Yeah, we sure did. Big pop here yesterday in Meds. Is holding up here about 10.5.
Yeah, yesterday's high.
Okay, Crow. Rally, boom. Nice job. In fact, way to go, Crow. I know this is a penny stock here. This is halted, isn't it? Halted up here. Yep, 89 cents. Crow, your call in here was on a move right through VWAP. That I have that at 68 cents, 21 cents on a 68-cent stock. Well done, Crow.
Yeah, relish those
well
gains.
Done.
MEDS had an intraday a high of 1090 yesterday, and we're getting pretty close to that level. I think if we break the current high from today, which was in the pre-market of 1044, we should definitely see the one from yesterday. I think we may even see it on breakout.
NVIDIA getting mentioned here in the chat by Dustin. NVIDIA popping to the highs here. What's interesting here is that Apple is the opposite of this, right? So last couple of sessions here, I guess we've seen this. Apple pulling back here. NVIDIA looks like this is trading up. I guess part of me wonders if that's the AMD news. This, by the way, continuing lower here.
Yeah, and it's just the rotation too. What was down yesterday and up, and what was up? You had Apple up and you had NVIDIA lower. This is just rotation among the Mag 7. And everything else in the Mag 7 is down. Well, Microsoft just turned green slightly. And we'll probably end up seeing more Mag 7 turning green throughout the day as they did yesterday. Just, all the money is like hiding out in these handful of names. No problem, Gio. No problem at all. Waste management is up. ABAB is up. Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. This is kind of what we mean about the whole, if you can't beat them, join them. This waste management one, this was a really good one. This one I'm actually disappointed I didn't take.
I still think you can get into IDU and have that exposure.
IDU, that's the ETF that you talked about yesterday, right?
Utilities ETF. Yeah. So, some ETFs like the XLU won't have waste management in their holdings. And if they do, it's not as heavy as IDU has it. It's their third largest holding. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go with IDU.
Okay.
All right. Well, just trying to look and see what else I can find here.
Hood getting a mention here. Rajat. Good morning, Rajat. Hood here. This one was actually on a recent run. This pullback really just kind of took us to the 20-day. On the 15-minute chart, looks like we kind of did put in a bottom here at about 22. 22 looks like a decent area to trade this. No position here, but kind of like this one.
This is the 22 area. That's where all the consolidation is from pre-market. So that's that, and just above it from after hours yesterday. That seems like this is the whole sideways channel consolidation that the price needs to get through. Going to need some good volume to get through that, in my opinion.
Jay's Life coming in hot with the swing ideas here. Bros, this is another one that we talk about a lot. on happy hour. Let's take a look here at Bros. Jay, I think you're on to something. Check this out. Here's your Bros daily chart. Really kind of came back in. Looks like we did put in a bottom. Now here we are. If we look at the near term, looks like a potential breakout spot right here about 20 or about 40 and a half, I beg your pardon. And then it looks like that level about 41 was previous resistance. So Bros potential breakout here as well. I like this setup too, Jay's Life.
Watch Qualcomm. Qualcomm moving to the highs up near 3.4%.
Yeah.
Is that on any piece of news or anything, Nick?
No, just popping to the highs here. It seems that chips and tech continue to move this market, and I don't know what else to say, Ryan or 13, how many times we can reiterate this, but you cannot have a market where it's just one sector or two sectors leading it all. I don't think we've had a broad-based rally in a while.
Yeah, it's gonna. That breath is really gonna need to spread out. Who knows how long it can go for, though?
I mean, the amount of times we come in here and talk about the same stocks over and over.
I know.
Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, Qualcomm. I mean, you would think at this point the airlines would be rallying, cruise stocks would be rallying, given it's summer. You know, it just seems today's retail sales report confirms that the consumer is slowing, only up 1/10. We were looking for 3/10. I mean, restaurant dining is not as strong as expected. So I think there is some resilience. I think there is some partnering here that the consumer is slowing.
Yeah, and that's something that we've been watching for. Remember, we've been talking about a potential slowing consumer over the summer months for pretty much all year here. We talked about that maybe at the end of last year as well. CTML, this pulling back to the VWAP. Might we get a VWAP trade here, CTML? Gents, I'm going to step away for just 1 sec, right?
All right. Okay, so CELH. I hear you, Sydney. This one, it looks like it's on the recovery here after getting a double top. You know, for between March and June. For the recovery side here, I'd like to see it get back up to let's call it 163.50. That'd be a good start. A better move would be up to the 166. I'm sorry, the 66.75 level, where we have, or maybe it's more like 67.25, where we had a bottoming from after that first peak. That bottoming occurred in April. So I think if we get up to that level, that'd be, which is where the 200 EMA is, that'd be a really good move for one day. That's about 6 handles. So we'll see. I don't know.
13 CEO was actually on CNBC yesterday talking about the stock and talking about markets. Really not much come out of the interview, just talking about earnings and how revenue and stuff. So, I mean, Celsius is one to watch, given it is popular. I never had a Celsius, couldn't even tell you what they tasted like. I see them all the time. What are they? Energy drinks? Mm-hmm. Help me out here.
Yeah,
they are. Nick, I'll say this: they're one of the tamer energy drinks. I'll say this: your first visit to the office, if I'm a betting man, and I am occasionally, I bet you have one for the first time.
Yeah, you know, ADW. I think I'm just going to staycation and party in Texas. That seems the way to go right now. Enjoy my freedoms. But yeah, Celsius, CELH. You got a buy rating, price target of 90. Price target of 90. So we'll see what happens. I still would like to see if we are going to get some reversal here and an upside. I still would like to see those levels I mentioned. You know, the 200 EMA on the daily looks pretty good. That's also in the same area where that bottoming was between the two peaks. Take care, Lion Atlas.
Ryan, we haven't mentioned this today, but this was interesting this morning. B of A actually come out with a fund manager survey and just trying to pull through the highlights. I had to break out the notebook given so much stuff is happening now. The fund manager survey, it's actually the most bullish since November of 21, driven by cash levels at a 3-year low and big equity allocations. 73% of respondents say no recession, just 8% say no Fed cuts in the next 12 months.
Next 12 months from today.
Yes.
So I would be in that camp. I don't think we're getting a rate cut this year, but the next 12 months, I would expect one in 2025, the first half of the year of 2025. The one thing that we have there, Nick, and I can't help, maybe I'm off base on this, but I can't help. Yesterday, we talked about Evercore raising its S&P year-end targets as well as Goldman Sachs. Now you have Bank of America.
It goes to 5,600 yesterday after the show. We got that news that Citigroup goes from 51 to 5,100 to 5,600.
Thank you. And now you're telling me about Bank of America releasing a report being the most bullish they've been in how long, did you say?
Since November of 21.
Okay. So, guys, does that to you at all seem like everyone's kind of turning bullish and maybe the contrarian trade is the place to be here?
Hold on, back up. That was November of 21. Don't you remember what happened like just a few months later? Market crashed. Market just started going down.
So is this a signal? I'm asking the group. Is this a signal?
I think it's a signal when everybody's super bullish.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Not everybody. You still got JP Morgan at 4,200 for year end, and they don't seem to be budging.
Good point. That's a good counterpoint. We'll see here. By the way, trade desk here looks like this trade is going green here. So glad we were patient with this one. Did it in small size, really kind of flagging here. Would love to see this push up towards 99 and 100. That would be what I'm looking for out of this trade. Ticker TTD. We are long here, small position, ticker TTD.
Stay patient or you'll be one.
Right. I'm really trying to work on that. I think that when it comes to day trading, I definitely have a quick finger, mostly because that's just how I've always done day trading. And there are times when it works and there are times when it doesn't. But the whole being patient thing, I really think that that's going to end up bleeding into better trades as a whole here. We'll see if this one ends up working out. I don't want to do a victory lap early.
Yeah,
Jay here again, another register ring for this one. SMCI trimmed 10% of the stock. I think that's 10% of your position, I think is what you mean there. Still long a few calls from last week. Like I said at the open here, Jay, this was a monster call from you. Really, really nice trade there on SMCI. Keep paying you. ATRA. Remember when we talked about this penny stock? This thing was in the teens, ran up to 40 almost, and now it's right back. Looks like it's going to the teens. ATRA.
So real quick with Evercore, how often do they write about their predictions?
That would be a question for Nick. I don't know offhand.
They don't write very much. It seems that a lot of these companies that are upping their target haven't wrote about them, haven't changed them a lot. I believe Goldman, when on Friday they went to 5,600, that's only the third or fourth time this year that they've actually upped their target. A lot of these publications do start publishing 2024 outlooks in November, and then they'll occasionally write every 2 to 3 months. I mean, Tom Lee, one of the big bulls on the street, is still, I believe, at 5,200. We still haven't seen much word from him being given him raising the target, but it will be interesting to see who caves, what's going on. I think Morgan Stanley, believe it or not, they actually removed their 2025 target, given the strength of the consumer and given the strength of what's been going on with targets that they had to actually revise 2025 into 2024. But it doesn't seem that these research firms write their targets a lot. Maybe 2 to 3 months, or anytime there's strong economic data that maybe in that time frame will reflect higher growth, higher GDP. Goldman always puts out a GDP forecast when we get major economic data, and so we'll see what GDP comes out with today. Atlanta Fed this afternoon, given the retail sales report, and then we had some Empire State Manufacturing Industrial data today. So we'll see how GDP, but regarding the full year forecast, it seems 2 to 3 months they update their forecast.
Real quick here, JJ, does Benzinga have a show that focuses on sub-dollar stocks? No, we do not. I do not think the appetite is big enough for that. I know that might anger the penny players. I don't think so. I try to cover some of them on this show when we have really outsized runners, just so we can try and cover everything. But no, we have no show specific to that. Frank here, though, his comment. How about this? The last time the Celtics won a championship, that happened last night, by the way, for you non-sports fans, followed by Lehman Brothers bankruptcy and the market crash of 2008. Place your bets.
It'd be great if we ended up seeing not great if we do see a repeat, but if that's an indicator of market conditions, that was the part that would be great.
Yeah,
that'd be funny as hell.
Yeah, that would be something else. Not telling anyone to bet based on a sports correlation, but Frank with the nice stat there. MBio here right at 110. Crow calling this. This is right at the VWAP. Let's see if we bust here and go higher. MBio.
Yeah, lots of things that just popped out of the open and came right back in.
Indeed.
And that's probably going to be the market every day until we start seeing it unravel with all these Mag 7s.
Question here for Beach Bum. Let us know if anyone can help him out. Anyone know of any ETFs to short consumer discretionary like the XLY? I don't know off the top of my head. If anyone in the group has it for him, let us know. So you're looking for an inverse of the XLY, I'm assuming?
Let me see. Maybe SCC? Try SCC.
Pro ultra short consumer services. Consumer discretionary select. Maybe.
Yeah. I'll keep looking. Just one of the first things that came up.
So here, let me mention this one here. Elon, I appreciate this mention. Let me get the bigger chart up here. Let's take a look at this. This is ticker Dell, DELL. So here's your daily chart. Guess what? Today's move, we are in the gap. We are in the gap. This gap fills bottom of the candle 169.84, bottom of the wick 164.75. So potential gap trade here on Dell. I'm going to take that one. This did a really good job holding that 50-day. Look at that. Look at that. Now the push above the 20. What do you think here on Dell? You're my tech expert, Joe. What do you think here?
Let me pull this up. I'll take a look.
CEO was on CNBC yesterday in an extended interview with Sarah Eisen. That was, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And he talked about him selling his shares. And he said, quote, because the share count's shrinking and I own about half the shares, my ownership percentage is going up. We just learned, I believe, on Friday, he dumped over $760 million worth of Dell shares. But it seems that Dell is one of these companies talking about AI with an AI computer, trying to compete with Microsoft in this space. We shall see how AI does with a lot of these companies.
So you were talking about those sales, Nick?
Yes.
So after that $761 million sale, I've got another entry here, 616 for $379 million. After both of those sales, Michael Dell still owns 21.79 million shares. So take it with a grain of salt. The sales, that is. I think that's really good context that you brought here, just to be clear.
Well, I'd say that if we can get over 154 and 55 cents, that would be good for more upside. We're still kind of making our way through the last of the consolidation from May. And then if you look at the May 20th and May 24th, that the low on May 24th and the high on May 20th, they're about the same. So I think, right in that area between those two, that's where you're going to probably see resistance. So if we get past that, I'd say that we could definitely get back up to, not definitely, but I'd say there's a much better chance of getting back up to the 180 high that it had than not. But do you see what I'm talking about on those 2 days? How the high that was rejected on May 20th, that was 154 and 59 cents. And then the low on May 24th was 154 and 61 cents. So I think right in between those two, you might see a good number of resistance. That might even be a breakout level. That's what I'm getting from that right there.
I'm sorry. I took the chart off stupidly, but I think what you're talking about, 13, is this area right in here. Yep, right there.
So that's where I'd be interested in the price.
Jay, kind of adding to the context here, his ownership was so big, or the move was so big, excuse me. The move was so big. He's been selling so much stock. His ownership actually went up. It's pretty incredible. Okay. Good stuff there on Dell. Coming back here, it looks like the trade desk. This is finally working. This in small size to test. Again, I really want to see I'd like to see 100, but we'll start looking at it above 99 here on TTD. MBio, this is another one that you folks are looking at. This is a great, we talked about this at 110 here. It looks like we're moving through the VWAP. Might have another opportunity here. James, doing some research for a group. We appreciate it. The ETF that acts as an inverse to XLY is the ProShares Ultra Short Consumer Goods. That is SZK.
But that's Staples, though.
I've never even pulled this one up here, but I asked, so I figured I'd mention it here.
No, I was looking at that one too, and I didn't mention it because I think he was after discretionary, and that's Staples. That's just what I'm. That's what I'm.
Look at Chewy. Here. Look at Chewy. So just kind of thinking about the trade here. Got stopped out on the last set because I didn't want that to go red. But if I had held it a little bit, we'd still be in for this move. So maybe that last tranche, if there's profit made on some of the initial sales, I can kind of widen a stop.
MBio.
Chewy here, interesting. Yeah, what stock?
MBio.
MBio, sorry.
It's popping. I think we're getting some volume here. 130 is the level to break.
Look at
everything else is just so dead tired.
So, speaking of dead tired, I think that we might have that from the market here. I think one of the things that we should be aware of is after lunch today, as we kind of go into the afternoon prior to this one-day holiday, you might see the volumes dry up. Really, the question for me is going to be, do those lowered volumes stick around through Thursday and Friday? In other words, are people taking off the latter half of the week, or is it just this one day? So I don't know. I think you're going to see some lighter volumes in the afternoon today. Just factor that in.
We'll probably see some lighter volumes and more illiquid price action. So the SPY could do what it did yesterday and just completely, rally with no resistance because nobody's really selling. And if they are selling, they're just getting bought back up. It could be just more of that. CVNA is getting pretty close to breaking out too. Just kind of throwing it out there while I'm talking. It looks like it really wants to get over that. I guess let's call it 111. It's so close to there, but it's like 110.95. But 111.
It is kind of running up on there. Purgatory Park saying, Ryan, it's quad witching triple expiry Friday. Okay, true. So maybe it won't be.
I was going to say, watch this afternoon because we have 4 Fed speakers starting at 1:00. We have Fed Governor Adrian Kugler. We have Dallas Fed President Lori Logan. At 1:20, we have St. Louis Fed President Alberta Musalem. We have 2 p.m. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee on the wires. And we had Barkin this morning at 10 a.m. basically just repeating what he has always been telling us, saying that rate cuts depend on the data. U.S. economy is doing well. Fed decision will depend on economy. Things are moving in the right direction. So it will be interesting to hear what other 4 other Fed speakers say. And there's Fed speak all throughout this week, given we're not in the blackout period. And then don't forget, we have a July meeting, and then we have Jackson Hole in August, which will be very interesting to see what comes out of that.
Okay. I wanted to check something here real quick because this is something else. Those Fed speakers, that was a wild card I didn't anticipate. So appreciate that, Nick. BRTX, by the way, this was mentioned here by Smoke Tuna. This did pop. Don't we also have a Euro game on at 3 today? Croatia. I think there's a Euro game on. I'm trying to log into FanDuel here, but it is struggling. Come on, I'm on the air. I'm trying to get a question answered here, app. Let's go. Like, what are we doing?
So
Real quick, sorry.
Okay.
Turkey, Georgia at 11 Central, so noon. Portugal, Czech Republic at 3. That should be a widely watched game. We'll see if that impacts the market at all. Anyway,
is this something that we're going to be playing with DraftKings when that happens? Or
no. So here, by the way, GME popping here. DJF mentioning this. So I don't know if you'd play this single game this way. The entire collection of games, 13, was part of the thesis behind the DKN trade. Again, shout out to Zoltan. Let's give him his flowers. He called this one in this chat as well as the happy hour chat. I know it was only a 4-point move, but this was a good one. I think that this is, maybe this is kind of over the thesis here. Maybe it was just kind of a lead up to it. I don't know. I don't know that there's one thing that we can do based on this game. For a particular trade. I think it's the collection of games. SMCI going for 1,000 here, Jay. Averaging down on CMTL. What happened there? Oh, okay, so this is trying to reclaim its VWAP here. That might be something interesting to watch.
TSM getting mentioned by Rajat. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Here we go on CMTL. We just crossed the VWAP here. See if they take this size at 382. They're on it. They're taking some of it, backing off a little bit now. They're right through it. God, that didn't even wait. CMTL took out that size here. Let's see if it pushes or if it just yanks from here. I was thinking of maybe kind of joining in on that. It happened too fast to do that.
Yeah,
I'd buy a Dell dip, but there isn't one. Yeah, that makes dip buying tough. We've seen that on some other names here. CMTL continuing to rip here, guys.
TSM, yeah, I it's having another good day, but man, this thing is just crazy. It's if you when you look at longer time frames, you can see just how parabolic it's gotten. And man, the best time to buy was last year in October when a lot of things were down, because it bounced right off of the peak of 2020. I think that was the pre-pandemic highs. It bounced right off of that, and then it's gone parabolic.
Aaron here asking, you think AMD will fall hard off hacker confirmation? So we talked about that when Nick broke the news earlier, or at least broke it to me earlier. We said we were waiting for a confirmation, right? That was off a hacker forum that we kind of got that news. You said some news wires were reporting it, but it wasn't confirmed. Did I get that right?
Yeah, AMD has still not confirmed it.
Okay. So, Aaron, that might be what's kind of holding it here. I mean, from the blurb that they read about it, it sounds really bad. My inclination would be yes, we'd probably trade lower on that. I guess maybe waiting for the company to confirm that is probably the big catalyst there. Smoke Tuna mentioning TBLT. That crossed through the VWAP here. Smoke Tuna, man, your scanner is working on these low price stocks here today. You're getting a lot of these curls through the VWAP. You love to see it. You just love to see it. CMTL, man.
I think it's worth mentioning that AMD had another hack back in 22. And some of its passwords were just password.
I mean, that is so unbelievable. Even like back to like my childhood days, I don't think I ever set a password as password. Like, what drives somebody to do that?
Not even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. I mean,
but apparently that was, when they were hacked back in 22, that was how some of them got in, was they just typed in the password. So if they do confirm this, I guess I shouldn't be surprised if they haven't changed their password prowess.
Rick asking, during a reverse split, what happens to the float? Wouldn't it split as well? So reverse split lowers the float, right? A forward split increases the float. Lauren, I kind of thought PLTR would be up more. So Palantir, this was actually looking pretty good here too. Chart looks pretty good. Looks like it's really kind of breaking out of here. We actually highlighted this as a potential move here today. Looks like that initial dip got bought. Palantir do like this higher here. It's very difficult to trade on a short-term basis. Long-term though, this is more of a kind of a buy and hold stock here. Man, Chewy looked like it just printed above 25. Nope, not quite. New highs here. Chewy at hot, up at 25 right here on Chewy. What a move.
Yeah, MLGO, we got to mention from the crow that's halted down. This is the China pump, and this is why you don't want to really touch these. I don't even remember if I traded this today. I don't know. I didn't.
No, kudos to you though, because in your rundown on this, you kind of outlined how you uncovered it was a China pump, and then that set your trade plan. So well done here, 13. Well done, staying out of trouble. AMD pain equals NVIDIA gain. We talked about that one earlier as well. Rajat asking here, Amazon just consolidating too long or retracing to 179? So here, let's look at a bigger chart here on Amazon. I know this is a very, very popular stock. I like this company. Generally speaking, I like this for higher. Looking at where we're at right now, we are just kind of consolidating and compressing here. I actually really like this spot, kind of holding above this 200, or excuse me, holding above this 50-day. If we fall out here, I think 178 likely to find some support. The last two times we broke through that 50-day, we were able to find some support at the 100-day. We'll see here on Amazon. 190 going to be that upside target that you want to break here. So as for a trade, I'd be looking for something above 190 as your target, and I'd probably have a little bit of a tighter stop if we break through that 50, and then look to maybe retry it again at the 100. Let me know what you're thinking there on Amazon. I do like this higher, Rajat.
I'm a little concerned with Amazon on the chart. We are kind of double topping here in the longer term time frame. If you go to like a monthly, you can see what I mean.
Yeah.
We really would need to make new highs in order to avoid this pattern. The problem is that I outlined this earlier in the year. Back in 21 back in 21, basically, in the beginning and toward the end of that year, Jeff Bezos was selling a lot of shares, and he did that right before the market and the stock all went down in 22. Now we just saw him that he sold a lot of shares earlier this year. I think it was in January when he did. I'd have to go back and look. But that's indicating to me that he is selling ahead of market weakness. And if you look at these monthly candles in Amazon, they don't look great. So I think that if we see him sell again, that might be the exit signal to get out of Amazon and wait for a lower price. But if we break this double top that we're putting in here, then I think that you might be safe. But for now, it does not look like we're going to get the new highs just yet.
Yeah, and you know what? That kind of tie into our discussion about the broader market, right? If if you're bearish on the broader market, it might be hard to try and buy an Amazon breakout right there at the top, especially on that double top that you just outlined, 13. But if you think this market continue to grind higher, maybe Amazon goes with you.
I was going to say, regarding Amazon, we got news that the labor union partners with Teamsters to boost bargaining power. That's according to a new report. 98% of ALU members favor Teamsters. Partnership union aims to improve Amazon worker conditions. That was a new report out this morning.
Yeah, saw that on CNBC too. Brad with an interesting point here. I believe his sell corresponds to his move to Florida in an effort to avoid capital gains tax.
Was that the one he did this year, or are you also including 2021 as well? Because the 2021 selling, that to me looks like that was a clear indication that he knew the market was coming down, because he sold right before that happened.
This year. He's talking about the recent one. Okay.
Then I'll have to dig further into that, because if that's the case, then that could be true. I mean, I can absolutely see the reason, that being the reason why I did it. So we'll have to take a second look at that. But for now, that double topping in this stock doesn't look great to me either. So we do need to break into new all-time highs if we're going to avoid this formation.
Okay. All right. Let's see where we're at here. What else okay. NLSP, you guys are still mentioning some of the penny plays here. Let me just run through a couple of these stocks here. You're right here on NLSP. This actually might have another potential breakout here. All right, folks, it is 10:30 and it is a Tuesday. So that means it is time to bring on a very, very special guest. Put your virtual hands together for the one and only Chris Capri. Chris, how you doing this morning?
Very good. And yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I gotta say, I have Friday vibes on a Tuesday, which is unusual for me. But with the market being closed tomorrow, I guess there's just an extra spring in my step here today.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, I think if we kind of step back and look at what's going on today, we're seeing a lot of short-term flows on the day. And with the holiday being midweek, and then we have the June OPEX on Friday, traders who are long calls, I mean, the market's been up for several sessions, now SPY's been up, new all-time highs, NVIDIA pushing really high. We had a lot of stocks that are doing really well. So you have to know that traders are long calls. And if you're long calls and you're deep in the money, you're looking at this thinking, or you're even, not deep in the money, but mildly in the money. You're thinking, hey, do I want to pay this heavy theta? Because if I hold it overnight tonight, I also have to hold it through Wednesday. So that means 2 days worth of theta just to get to Thursday. And so unless you think there's some sort of huge move the rest of the day or a gap that's going to happen, traders are going to be very kind of cautious and wanting to kind of hold positions. So I feel the same thing. Like, it's a holiday tomorrow. I'm super excited about that, to have a day off. And I want to, we've been pretty active this morning, but now that we're coming up on the EU close in 30 minutes, I'm kind of like, okay, do I want to start pulling back positions a little bit? Because I don't want to hold any new positions. I don't want to take any new positions that will expire this Friday. So any positions I want to take is going to have to be for the end of June, the quarterly OPEX. And I just don't know if I want to take that right now. So yeah, I'm kind of in a tricky position right now. Like, I'm down to day trade if I see a couple good plays, but anything that I have to hold until end of June, I'm going to wait a little bit. So yeah.
What were some of the things that you were seeing in the flows this morning?
So very strong flows. We actually in Trading Waves just closed 2 positions. We were bullish on Dell. We bought Dell.
Nice. We just talked about Dell. Awesome.
Yeah, we bought Dell. I can give you the exact days. So we bought Dell we initiated the position on the 13th. So it's now been 5 days. So we pretty much bought the bottom because we saw that it was kind of getting towards a support zone. And we felt like the flows were starting to come in. Like, the stock was going down, but the option flows were turning bullish. And we felt like it was hitting a support zone that we wanted to bounce. So we bought that, and it's gone up, quite a lot since then. Dell flows have been insane today. Like, this is in terms of like 30-day averages. We're pretty strong in terms of option flows on the day today. Very, very strong on the day. So we just took profit on our Dell position, over 100% on that trade. Also, finance has actually been picking up quite a lot. We bought JPM, and I can tell you exactly on that one. We also bought them the same day on the 13th. We felt JPM was bottoming, and so we bought actually a swing play for the July OPEX. And so we actually just took half profit on that because it bounced so much. So we bought that at like 192. Now it's at 196. It hit 198 today almost. And what we're seeing is actually finance is getting a pretty good push. We're also seeing JPM bounce first, but we're now seeing that kind of same bottoming formation and flows come in on Wells Fargo, which is like trailing a little bit behind, and then Citibank, which is a step behind Wells Fargo. So we're seeing several finance stocks kind of start to bottom and find their bottoms and start to pick themselves up, and JPM has been leading the way. So those are looking good. NVIDIA is having a very strong day in terms of flows, like very strong day. So yeah, it's all bullish on NVIDIA, and we feel like NVIDIA is going to probably want to make a push towards 135 today, because we're seeing that it's already been long calls for a while, but yet the trades that are being added on are mostly expiring this Friday. So they're saying, hey, we're going to take a high gamma trade, try and push this and see if we can get to 135 today. So we can kind of get as much juice, because after today, you only have Thursday and Friday to really push NVIDIA. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now, is that finance, AI is obviously doing pretty good, and then Dell is looking really good.
Okay.
I have a question for Chris on the financials. Are you seeing that they're doing better because the consumer is weakening? So the thought is that now's the time to get into the financials, since with a weakening consumer, we might see more deposits from savings?
So that's not, as far as I can tell, that doesn't seem to be the source of it. So if you want to look at the JPM chart there, Ryan, and then take a look at the weekly, you can if you look at like if that big chart on your bottom there looks at the weekly.
I'll get you a bigger one here where we can actually take a really good look at the weekly right here.
All right. So now zoom back to the beginning of the year.
So here's the beginning of 2024.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been steady, right? You've only had, what, 5, maybe 6 bearish weeks out of how many now? 23, 24. So what we're seeing is that this is not a new thing. Finance has actually, and banks have been doing, actually, the big banks at least, have been doing pretty good all year. You can see the same thing in Citibank. You can see the same thing in Wells Fargo. All of them are up kind of similar amounts, 10 to 15%. So they're tracking SPY. And what we suspect has been going on, the fact that this has been going on since the beginning of the year, is that traders are front running potential rate cuts in the markets. On top of that, banks have been shoring up, since that regional crisis we had with the regional banking crisis. The big banks have been saying, we're going to deleverage a little bit. And they've been doing this for a while now. In fact, even Jay Powell mentioned it in the last FOMC, said, look, banks have been, reducing some of their exposures. And so we feel like that plus the front running is really what's kind of been attracting things towards finance. Finance was underperforming for quite a while last year. And, and so I think traders basically started to say, hey, look, AI is great, but we can't have everything in AI. And so they started rotating into sectors where they felt like, hey, it's underperforming. We think these things are bottoming. And so we saw several sectors. We started to see industrials. We started to see retail a little bit, like Target, bounce from like 100 to like now. It like went all the way up to like 160. And now it's sitting like mid 140s. So we're seeing several sectors that are seeing rotational pushes, but, aren't quite as sexy as AI and NVIDIA is. So I just think people just got a little bit overextended and overbought and just a little too happy on AI, and then look for rotations.
Real quickly here. I'm sorry to do this to you, Chris. I love you. I'm sorry to do this to you, but what do you think about GME? Are you seeing any call flow on this? Because this stock's going wild here today. Just had their, I think it was an investor conference this morning. Here, let me get that for you. Anyway, have you seen any flow here? The annual meeting, I beg your pardon, the annual meeting. Did you see anything here on GME?
So from an options perspective, GME is actually quite low in terms of option flows on the day. So like notional deltas right now are only clocking in at roughly 2.5 to 3 million. Just for reference, the 30-day average is about 200 million to the negative side to 150 million the positive side. So we are at pretty nominal levels on the option flows. I think what's seeing most of the attention in GME today is shares. I don't think the options are pushing. And I think part of this is, if you look at, kind of like also if you stand back and look at the weekly on GME, you'll see that the initial spike was the highest, when Roaring Kitty kind of posted that tweet of him sitting forward. The initial spike was the highest, and every subsequent spike since then has been less in amplitude. And I think that's kind of like the overall effort of what we're seeing is that the dealers and market makers were definitely more aware this time. They knew who he was. They knew his potential. And so what did they do? They ramped up IV really high, really fast, which basically just inflated the call premiums massively. And they also limited the number of upside strikes. So they basically said, look, we're going to avoid creating another gamma squeeze like we did the last time by not being prepared. The short interest, they got screwed this time again. But the brokers and market makers basically said, look, if we limit the upside strikes, then we force people to hem in the number of options that they can buy. And that means that the dealers don't have to buy out of the money, positions and shares to kind of hedge their bets. So if a bunch of people buy these deep out of the money calls on GME and it starts to ramp up, then the dealers have to buy more shares to hedge their short call position. Because if the traders are long calls, dealers are short calls, so they have to buy shares to hedge that. By limiting the upside strikes, then they limit the hedges that the dealers have to do, therefore negating some of the gamma squeeze. And so if each amplitude gets weaker and weaker and weaker, then it's either leading to one of two scenarios. One, there's going to be a kill in this where it just kind of flattens out, or two, you're going to get one more big explosive ramp up. I don't see this just kind of going sideways. It's going to have a resolution when you have that many options played out and that many shares played out. There has to be a resolution. If you're long calls, you have to get paid out. You're going to pay theta tax every day. If you don't get paid out, you're going to be like, hey, this isn't going anywhere. I'm going to close my positions. So it either needs to have a big explosion higher and a new ramp up higher, or it's going to get killed. And so from an option flow perspective, I don't see much. I see a lot of activity on the share side today.
Okay, real good breakdown there, Chris. That's why we bring in the options experts. Just go off. Just absolutely go off. Anything else that you're looking at here maybe for the rest of the week before we get you out of here? And as a reminder, folks, if you want to see more of Chris, go ahead and sign up for the webinar just through the link in the chat. But Chris, on your way out here, anything else that you're looking for, maybe positioning for, maybe some nuggets you want to drop for the viewership here?
Yeah, so we have to assume that the balance of positioning is weighted towards the calls. And when we get to a heavy OPEX, this is the biggest quarterly OPEX and the biggest monthly OPEX of the year. The last ones that are comparable will be the first quarter of this year. So you have the June OPEX, which is the biggest of the year, and then we have the quarterly OPEX, which is also tied for the biggest. So with a long call bias, as you get closer and closer to the OPEX, we have to assume that, yes, some will roll their positions, but a lot of them are just going to take profit and let things settle, and then they'll reset. So when the balance kind of shifts from long calls and pairs back a little bit, we have to start expecting that there's going to be some correction in the markets. That could come Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday. So we're expecting a little bit of correction. And then after that, when you look further out, we don't have an FOMC for a while. We don't have any major events for a while. So we feel like we're kind of in a free running range where option positioning and reflexivity is going to take over. So expect a little bit of a correction installing in some of these high flyers Thursday, Friday. Okay. And then I think traders are going to say, hey, we're going to try and make one more push for the end of the quarter OPEX. After that, then traders are going to be looking towards FOMC before they kind of decide what's going on after that. So that's kind of what we're seeing positionally and structurally right now.
Okay. Really awesome breakdown, Chris. I can't thank you enough. Taking time out of your day. Again, you want to see more of Chris's breakdown, check out the webinar. I linked it in the chat. Chris, do me a huge favor, all right? Enjoy your day off tomorrow, all right? You earned it.
You do the same. Pleasure seeing you guys.
All right. Take care, Chris. We will continue to bring him back. Dude is extra sharp. Really love some of those options breakdown there. Again, link in the chat to sign up for that webinar if you're interested. We can't thank Chris enough for hopping on here and breaking it down like a fraction. All right. While we were talking there, what else is moving around here? What else are you guys seeing?
I was posting in the chat while he was talking, so I wouldn't interrupt him. But we were seeing that JPM was flagging. Palantir is breaking out. It looked like GME, AMC were running, and Reddit and Hood were following. There's also some other things we were seeing too. Let me just go back here and look.
Reddit may be a reversal there, yeah.
Yeah, so it was interesting because as soon as I saw GME and AMC running, and then we also had Hood getting mentioned, I was like, I bet Reddit's coming too. So we got a little bit of a reversal of Reddit, the platform that started the whole thing, or where it was started from. So I feel like there's going to be a bit of a relationship trade there as well. JP Morgan, when I mentioned the flag, it was not starting to do what it's doing now, which is curling up. So there could be some upside here in JP Morgan. They printed a high of 197.96, so let's call it 198. Could get back up to 198 here if this bullish movement continues.
MBio here, this is pushing up right now. High of 130, big offer there. Last time we popped through this, we ran. Let's see here on MBio.
I think there's also a mention of Pan W. Let me see if I can find it. Elon, market makers buying PanW on the cheaper earlier. Watch out for the upcoming pop. So that was there was a mention there.
Yeah, let me check out PanW. I do really quickly want to come back to MBio though, because I think we're setting up there. PanW just kind of drifting. Let's see what MBio does up here.
It looks like airships trying to recover. Volume's not great though. Yeah, with Palantir, that was a really nice move up out of the. It was actually kind of a breakout move from the pre-market high. I'm sorry, not the pre-market, from the intraday highs, and now we're coming back in. So if we're going to see more upside, we're going to need to get support from, like, I guess we'll call it 25.30. We need to get support from right about there in order to reverse and go higher. Not sure if we'll get that or not. So I think we're coming up to that level anyway right now. So we'll see.
MBio backing off that attempt to go to 250 here, pulling back a little bit. We'll see if this firms up here on MBio. Tuna, I'd like to know what you think about this MBio spot right here, up here near some of these highs.
Good mention. G-Wave.
Yep, right through that VWAP. Yep.
Yeah, so this one might get a little bit more movement as well. It needs to get above 215 from what I can tell. That was a big level in the pre-market that it broke out of and then came back in and started trading underneath it again. 215. That's the level I like in this one.
CMTL here climbing away from the VWAP. Boy, that happened fast. Here's your foretest here. CMTL looks like it backed off that spot. Let's see if we pop above 4 here.
I'll take a look at BRBR mentioned by Justin R. Sydney is also mentioning MESO. Let me take a look at BRBR.
Let's see if CMTL can push through this $4 spot here. A little bit of size there. Ask Nick and Intel on the AMD alleged breach. Ask Nick and Intel. Are you wanting me to ask Nick if Intel is also involved in that breach? Nick, I think you just heard me.
Still no confirmation regarding if Intel was involved or if AMD has confirmed it. Still only seeing it from Hacker Report or Hacker Intelligence. At this point, I don't remember the name of the publication. But still no word if it has been confirmed or not. But if it is confirmed, then they have some serious hacking issues over there talking about password. But I will say this, guys. When I was in grade school and we had computer class, we were always told to create a unique password, and it could not be password or 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's like the first lesson they try to teach kids.
So with BRBR, it seems that $62 is a very strong resistance level. I can see it from back in March, back in May, when we tried to get above those. It was rejected both times, every time actually. There's 4 different occasions I can see. So 62 looks like the big level to get over. Now we're not near that quite yet. We're 6 handles away. But if this starts to move up and make another attempt for that level, that's the big level I think it needs to get over, 62. And you can see this on a daily chart when I'm talking about with BRBR.
I'll check BRBR here real quick. CMTL looks like it's trying to come back up to that spot here. I am long some, so we'll see. Let me just babysit this trade for a little bit. I want to see us pop above that 4. We'll just close it on the pop, sell into the strength. If we break down here at all, we'll just take this trade off. Let's see if we can move through 4 here. Definitely a little bit higher risk on my end as I front ran this a little bit. Here comes a bit of a pullback. Let's see if we can juice this here. Bringing in some size above. See if we can entice this to try and rip higher.
No, thanks for BRBR, Justin. This is an interesting one. I don't know enough about it, but the chart looks interesting. There's a buy rating on it from Deutsche Bank. Price target $67. It's trying to get past the executive chairman selling 15,000 shares in May. That's not a tax sell. That's a big position. Yeah, I'd be interested to see in more of this. So I'll take a look at this. Thanks, Justin.
Boren, good morning, man. Hopefully you are doing well. You excited for your day off? Hopefully your Father's Day went well, Boren. Great to see you here this week. CMTL might have got a little bit ahead of my britches here. We will see. On CMTL.
All right. What else is moving? What's GME up to now? We got up to just under 60. I'm sorry, just under 26. And now we're coming back in a little bit.
Watch LRHC La Rosa Holdings up 49%.
Here is LRHC. That is popping here on volume. What's going on with this one, Nick?
Just volume pop. No news whatsoever. Just volume pop. But we'll continue to moderate. If there's any news, of course, we'll...
Look, La Rosa, this is from Tuesday. That's today. Duh. La Rosa Holdings plans acquisition of controlling interest in Red Door Title. So they're news that they're planning on picking up a title company.
CMTL still flirting with this level here, not ready to give it up. We're still waiting for this 4 test here. Here we go. There and through on 4. We'll close it right here. Nice little scalp there on that move through 4. Might go some more, but I'm just trying to pay myself on that trade. Smoke tuna. Looks to go higher. Smoke tuna, you got another one. Really good eye here. That was a very, very short-lived. Look at that. I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to take it. Probably not the greatest there. Nice little scalp, though. We'll add it to the bank. Let's see here.
LRC HC, interesting. Real estate management and development company. Well, that'll be one thing to watch is LRHC, that acquisition, and they anticipate to finalize it by the end of July to enhance real estate services with title insurance capabilities. And it is just blasting off.
Yeah, it really is. Continuing to move here.
Well, this could be on for tomorrow as well on a relative volume play, because we're already over twice as almost 3 times the average volume. So we'll get definitely should be on our scanners for tomorrow too.
Yeah, we popped above a bunch of moving averages on this as well here. Let me see if I can bring this up on a bigger chart here. LHRC, right?
Mm-hmm.
LRHC?
LRHC, sorry.
Oh, no, it's my fault. I can't type anything here. So here, look at this real quick. Look where it's going.
Well,
Intraday.
yeah. Go back even further. This is the crazy thing. That's the second time it's gone up to 553. Oh, I guess yours is okay. There you go.
Yep. Look at this. Here we go.
So I guess you could just hold your nose and
the smoke tuna alert system is popping off today. Smoke tuna.
Yes. You're right, Lynn. Sorry, Thursday, because we're closed tomorrow. This should halt at some point with these kind of moves. And there it is. Just halted. Yeah, 5. I have levels on this for some reason. Must be something we traded back in February.
When 13 finds previous levels, the ex-girlfriend conversation heats up.
They're knocking at my door. All right. So yeah, maybe this goes to 550 again. Maybe. I'm gonna keep that one on my radar. Maybe there's an opportunity here to day trade this one still today. I mean, this is a nice move already, but it could still go.
Real quick here. Are there any charts you folks want to take a look at with Anne-Marie when we get her on here today? Assuming everything is okay. Let me know if there's anything you want to take a look at.
I'm still waiting for Cisco to kind of break down here. Let me see where we're at with Cisco. Because I talked about how I thought this one was going to.
And I'm sorry, I was reading a chat comment. What ticker? 13?
Cisco, CSCO.
CSCO. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I still looking for this one to break down some more. Maybe after we get a retest of $46, it'll do that. But I think this one's ultimately headed to 40 over a period of time.
Jennifer, you want me to ask Anne Marie about NEO? I will do that here. I will see. We normally don't cover stocks that are that low price, but if I recall correctly, the NEO option chain is liquid enough where we might be able to do something. I'll ask about that.
All right. I'm going to go back and through all these other ones again. CELH hasn't done much since it got to 61.73. ASTS appears to have found some kind of a bottom, got down to 1091. Hasn't been able to recapture VWAP yet.
Oh, again, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do
ASTS?
ASTS.
Mm-hmm.
ASTS. You got it, Jennifer.
Green Wave.
Sally,
Sorry.
CRM. Sally, was that for Anne Marie? Or are you... Let me go ahead and throw that one in there too. Joseph asking about NLSP. That was one of the penny stocks that we've taken a look at here today. Does it still have room to go a little higher and test the day highs? Well, the room I generally judge from the range. So, yeah, I mean, definitely. One other thing in terms of the trading action here is that the fact that it hasn't broken down yet really bodes well for another move higher here. First thing we'd want to see here, recapture of the VWAP here. The day highs here are going to be at 45. The pre-market high up here at about 52. So that would be the range that I'd be looking for. Unsure if it's going to have the strength to do that.
Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable if this was trading above VWAP.
Yeah, so would I.
It is encouraging that the 65 EMA on the 5-minute has been providing support, even as far back as the after hours last night. You can even look at that 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Every time it traded down there, we did get some price action beneath it, but it always ended up above it. So I think as long as that 65 EMA holds on the 5-minute, you'll be okay. But we need to see that VWAP get taken out, or we're not going to do a whole lot.
There you go. Joseph Madden. Sally, I added that one for Anne Marie. I will float that to her.
All right.
Curious to
see if GME can actually break over 26 here. If it starts to, it looks like it's starting to curl right now, but the volume's not looking great. Needs to get back up and over 26 in order for this rally to continue. G-Wave might, again, we need some volume in these things, man. But the formation looks okay. Like it wants to go higher, but volume. It's just not looking great in any of these. Sorry.
DJAF sold the last of my DJT 34 puts. Was fun, but don't want to get assigned tonight. DJAF, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that trade thesis started in a 50 handle, didn't it? Weren't you mid 50s when you first started this trade? You're going to get a register ring and a 1-up for that. Great job capturing that movement to the downside. Closing it out. It's a nice little swing.
That's actually really good because it looks like it might start to reverse soon.
55. Nicely done.
Awesome.
Lot of points there. A lot of money to be made there. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, he caught the almost the near top of that last rally.
Man, look at that CMTL. After that pop, we were right back under the VWAP here. Have not really been able to firm up here. Whew, that scalp wasn't much, but it was something. Tell them if it works. LHRC open. Let's take a LRHC. I keep messing it up. Sorry, folks.
I just call it Lurch.
Lurch. Okay. I can get on board with that. Lurch works for me.
Yeah, Lurch is just this is just on a tear right now. I don't know if we're going to get an opportunity to get into this meaningfully. You'd have to kind of just market order it with, and that comes with huge risk.
Yeah, it sure does.
in order to get into this thing, because I don't know where you could set levels and hope to get your fill.
Real quick, 13,
Sure.
before Anne-Marie gets here, I'm going to step away one more time. I'll be right back.
Okay. So let's see, with with Lurch, we were talking about it going possibly to 550. So the first stop would be $4 flat. We're $1.50 away from that. It would need to take more of a portion of the day in order to get up to 5 at this rate. So we'll have to see if that even happens. Maybe tomorrow, because there's just going to be a relative volume play, in my opinion. Let's see, Palantir actually breaking out of a downtrend. We had a peak back in March of 2750, and we haven't been able to get up to that level yet. But it did create a downtrend when we did create another peak in May on the 6th, when it got up to 2536. You draw a trend line down through those, you can see that today we are breaking out of that trend line. So there could be more upside in PLTR on that break.
All right. And sorry about that. So real quickly here, just to kind of go over the schedule, we are supposed to have Anne-Marie right now. Anne-Marie is actually dealing with an issue at her house. She does expect to be here. So gentlemen,
I can hang out a little bit.
I was going to say, you're more than welcome to hang out, but if you guys have schedules to attend to, do not let me interrupt that.
Nope.
Okay, awesome. After Anne-Marie, so that's going to be 11 to 11:30. After Anne-Marie, from 11:30 to 12 is Tech Tune-Up. So be sure to stick around for that. And then from 12 to 1, we have that CBOE options webinar, dive into zero DTEs. So be sure to stick around. All of that stuff still coming here. We know we got a day off tomorrow, but we loaded you up with content here ahead of that break. Shout out to our team. In the meantime, we've got a runner here that we will monitor.
And Elon just pointing out to me that Boeing broke down beneath that trend line that I had you draw earlier today.
Oh, that is going to be on one of my charts. Let me actually bring that up here, 13. Let's examine that real quick. And if somehow we need more tickers, or if some of the tickers the chat suggested here don't work out for trades with Anne-Marie, we could always default to Boeing and AMD. So here's going to be that daily chart that we were taking a look at. 13, here is that trend line, clean break. Now, let me ask you, 13, are you waiting for a close beneath this trend line?
It's not on the screen.
Oh, geez. Sorry. Thank you. Here it is.
So the break in the trend is not good. So I would be looking for downside targets for support. And one of the first ones that come up for me is going to be 170, even though it's like just slightly underneath that. More accurately, 169.57. But we'll start with 170 since there's consolidation in there from April. And then after that, I think the next level of support we're going to try to hope for, if you're in this, is going to be about 167 and 75 cents. Those would be the next two downside levels I would have for Boeing. And then, of course, the bigger trend line from that broadening wedge. I don't know if you have that one.
No,
on there.
I don't have that one on there.
Okay, but that would be the next spot as well.
Okay.
In the broadening wedge. Yeah. So there we go.
Okay.
Those three levels.
We shall see. Let me go. Boy, I'm doing a lot of jostling here of the charts, but that's all right. This TTD one, I'm going to ask Anne-Marie about this because maybe we can get an options trade set up on this as well. We talked about this being at a potential spot here. The day trade, it's working technically. I mean, we're in the black, but like there's really not a whole lot of movement here. I was hoping for some more. We'll see if we end up getting it later in the day.
Ryan, you throw up a chart of Apple. The information is reporting Apple has told at least one supplier that it has suspended work on its next high-end Vision headset, an employee at a manufacturer that makes key components for the Vision Pro set. That's according to the information, with this report dropping about 3 minutes ago. The pullback comes as analysts and supply chain partners have flagged slowing sales of the $3,500 device. The company is still working on releasing a more affordable Vision product with fewer features before the end of 2025. That's according to the person involved in its supply chain and a person involved in the manufacturing of the headset said. Apple originally planned to divide its Vision line into two models, similar to the standard and Pro Visions of the iPhone, according to people familiar or involved in its supply chain and former Apple employees who have worked on the device. So watch Apple shares.
Okay, Apple here actually up off that 215 low it put in earlier here, Nick, still right below VWAP. Yeah, I mean the easiest way for me to summarize this, Apple's new MacBook, like the Max, like the MacBook Pro Max, it's the same price as the Vision headset. I don't know what it would take for me to opt to spend that capital on a virtual reality headset rather than the computer itself. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm old, maybe I'm a boomer, maybe I'm all of those things. I just don't get it though. A cheaper model is definitely going to be what they need. I feel like I'm not sure how much this moves the needle.
So the whole thing with this headset is just a huge mistake, in my opinion, and I don't think they should not pursue it anymore. The whole thought that I had around, I'll get to why. The whole thought around smart glasses is not this huge headset. I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. The smart glasses play was what I thought is what they were headed towards, which is actually what Ray-Ban ended up coming out with. Have you seen those smart glasses?
No.
That's what Apple should have been doing this whole time, is doing something that's actually stylish, lightweight, easy to use, and it costs so much less. Let's look up Ray-Ban smart glasses. I think they've been working with Meta on this, but this is just so much more of what I think they should have been doing than this huge clunky headset that nobody wants. Nobody wants it.
Apple showing you a pretty decent red candle here. I know this is just a 3-minute chart here, so take it for what it's worth.
I will say this regarding the headset, Brian. There's a fire company that they do tip boards, and one of them that they've been auctioning off for months now is an Apple headset Vision Pro. I don't know how many tips there are, but it's been going on for months, and it seems they can't get rid of it. Nobody wants the Apple headset. Now, we've seen on X that there's videos of people using the headset walking around New York City on the subway, on the train, heading into Times Square. And it's so close to you. I've heard people complain about headaches, neck issues, and just problems because of how close you are to a device, and just the overall effect of it. I haven't used one, and I personally am not going to spend $3,500 on a device that I'll probably never use, given I do not want neck pain. I do not want eye soreness. That's just not me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Nick. I actually, several Android smartphones ago, I got whatever the Samsung goggle product was, where you clip the phone in and it served as the screen. I tried it. I didn't find anything I really liked from it. I got it for free and didn't keep using it. Now you're asking me to spend $3,600. Forget it, man. Like I said, a long time Apple stockholder. But yeah, I don't get it. I really don't.
And those Ray-Bans are only $300.
You know, those so while you guys were talking, I actually pulled those Ray-Bans up. So the primary feature there is you're able to just snap pictures, obviously with whatever you're looking at. You can capture an image. Mm-hmm. It obviously connects to your phone. You can play music. So it replaces maybe the earbuds there. You can do video calls, which I guess, can you see the call on the inside panel of the glass? I don't know. It seems interesting. $300, that price point, much more palatable.
Jay's Life. I think there's other companies out there other than Ray-Ban that are actually producing better smart glasses. And I've been on, the potato train that Vuzix has a better product, and that company just hasn't been doing very well. You can look at the stock; it's absolutely horrible. But their products are used in industry, and they actually have a much more stylish looking set of glasses for the consumer. Just, if Apple had gone that way, I'm sure Vuzi would probably be doing much better, but that's just what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, so Nick just said here in the chat, I have a lot of Apple products, but will never own a Vision headset. Let me ask you a hypothetical, Nick, and I understand that this is a hypothetical. If Apple released a product that was similar to the Ray-Bans, where you could, let's just say, do FaceTime, take pictures, listen to music, things like that, and it was just kind of a regular sunglass, would that be more appealing to you?
No. I even have an Apple Watch 2, Ryan, that I've only worn 5 or 6 times.
Because you're a Rolex guy, right? You Rolex or Patek Philippe? What?
None of that. I don't wear watches. I don't wear nothing. Believe it or not, we paid for I have an Apple Watch. It currently sits in my bedroom because I don't want it, because it drains my phone battery so bad.
Interesting.
I keep looking at my watch. When we were at the store, I would always look at my watch. I would have my phone because we have the GPS, so you technically don't need your phone. And next thing you know, I look at my phone and the battery's going from 90 to 80 to 70. And I'm like, I'm not even using my phone. I'm just using the watch. I'm like, yeah, this just isn't, it just doesn't work.
Okay, that I actually haven't heard that before. I use my watch all the time, just because I'm trying to do exercise daily and I'm trying to track it. It motivates me to stay on top of it. And then obviously I use it for the golf feature set. So I use it all the time. To me, it's totally worth it. But I would get it. Yeah, if you don't, and then man, it doesn't drain my phone battery. I can't imagine it. I wouldn't want to trade having a watch for less of a phone battery either. That's interesting, Nick. I appreciate that. Walter's saying Nick's got the Audemars Piguet. Yeah, some of those luxury watches, really, really awesome. This LRHC, what a move here. What a call. This thing went from about $1 almost up to $3 here. And again, if you folks are joining here expecting to see Anne-Marie dealing with an issue at home, we will fill the time until she gets here. If not, we will be back here with her on Friday.
LRHC, $4. I have pegged as the next upside target. And then, of course, the 550 area where it has topped out twice. Well, I guess it's worth just keeping an eye on AMD at this point, because I think that could really cause a problem for the semiconductor side of the market. We've been seeing a nice recovery in Airship, AISP.
Let me bring that up here.
Yeah, it got under $4. And now it's slowly recovering. I think this might end up being one of those that just goes right back up to VWAP, and then that's the last trade of the day, or maybe until much later in the day. So that's where I think it's potentially headed to next. So that would be 437, right? No, yes.
I have 436 as the VWAP.
Yeah. Okay.
So right in there.
Yeah, and Mike is a great point. Lunchtime is coming up, so volume falling off. This is typically what we start to see. Jay's Life mentioning AV. You just love to rub that in. AV. I was talking about this when it was 150. Didn't take the trade, and now look at it. Just look at it.
Look at it.
Just look at it. Yeah. Sometimes the worst trades that you make are the ones you don't take.
Oh.
What else are we looking at, folks?
I'm looking to see if the Twitter streets are on to anything. This has dried up too. Scanner showing some of the same names that we've been talking about, plus a bunch of penny names.
Yeah, market needs some lotion.
I don't think we've talked about this one, guys. Ticker ATRC, Atracure. Benzinga Pro actually has a headline, watching Atracure, traders circulating unconfirmed rumors suggesting Edwards Life Sciences is set to mall takeover bid for the company. So watch ATRC.
Okay, potential takeover rumor there. Interesting. Buy the rumors, sell the news, maybe on that move.
Let's see if I can find anything on that rumor. Maybe there's a price in there.
MESA, this is from the scanner earlier. Yeah, not a whole lot here. That ARTC did make it to the scanner. AMC higher. How's AMD doing? So look, interestingly enough, AMD continuing to hold at the lows here. I wonder if we do get a confirmation if we see maybe a flush down.
So BDX, they also had a definitive agreement with Edwards Life Sciences, where they were acquiring Edwards Critical Care Product Group for $4.2 billion in cash. So I wonder, and that was earlier this month that they announced that. So there's something else to go along with Edwards acquiring Atracure. or mulling the takeover. I wonder if they sold that in order to pick this up. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot of information on it since I'm just now finding out about it. But here's what I'm reading from BD. See if I can post it in here for you. Hopefully it'll make it through into the chat.
There might be a way.
No, it's not.
Is there a link in there? Is it 13? Do you have that little panel on the side where it says comments, people?
It's just I think it's too big. So here I'll send it to you in Slack, and maybe you can
perfect.
post it somehow. Perfect. Anyway, ATRC, it's still moving up. Anyway,
there's that link. That is kind of a longer link, but it is thrown in there, so we'll see.
Yeah, and AVAV, geez, it's gotten a little pop going right now. And LSP. I'm sorry, I'm just going to cycle through some of these other ones. Looks like LRHC finally getting a little pullback here, still above VWAP. I'm not saying that this is done or it's topped out here, because we've seen plenty of these things run where it has one red candle and then instantly just turns to more green candles later. So we'll see what happens with LRHC coming down to VWAP now.
All right, and folks, I am getting word here for Anne-Marie. Does not look like she's going to be able to make it here today. Sorry about that. Again, sometimes life just intervenes. Appreciate you, 13 and Nick, for hanging out. We'll go ahead and fill the time here with our community, but that has nothing to do with tech tune-up coming up here at 11:30, and then the CBOE options webinar coming up here at 12.
AMD pounding the lows down near 2.7% right now. So continuing to move lower. Not sure if this is a sell the news event or what we're doing, but we're near the lows.
Yeah, it looks like it's just kind of leaking down here.
And how long has it been since that news came out? Because that's a little concerning that they haven't just come out and said, "Oh, it's all not true." The longer it takes for somebody to come out and say something.
Yeah, someone earlier was saying that their legal team is probably scrambling either way. I think that's a pretty spot on call there.
Legal and PR are probably having a fist fight right now.
Indeed.
Wait, now I'm curious. What's the news?
Oh, well, good morning, Zunaid. Nice for you to join us.
What's up?
Hey.
What's the news? What's happening in AMD? Is it an Enron situation? What's going on?
We are getting reports that there was a data breach over at AMD from HackerRead or HackerRide. I don't remember the publication from this morning. AMD has not confirmed it. This happened shortly right after the market opened. Still no word from AMD. And then there were some people asking, was Intel affected by this? There's no word that Intel has been affected. But 13 read off a list of things that were hacked, and it seemed very serious. Wow. AMD still hasn't come out to confirm it. Still no word if this is actually true, but AMD literally pounding the lows as we speak.
You've also got the lows of yesterday there.
So James Life giving you a target here, a 144 on that.
Yeah, it's got to break this. It's got to break the 154.
You're exactly right, Zunaid.
Yeah. I mean, you have yesterday's low, so that's pretty simple. Something else, if you guys are interested, you've got Meta that broke 500 on the 15. Might be interested if you want to set your stop loss about at 501.50. See if it comes back to pound the 498 lows today. But
okay, Zunaid, I like you coming.
Did you know?
Coming in hot here with the trade idea.
I try. Did you know? So SPX, right, is 10 contracts where it has tax advantage as well. I also didn't know that there was like a XPS aspect to it. That's what we're going to talk to Sibo about, is like the short dated ETF trading, right? So when it comes to like SPX and all the other things, the VIX we're going to talk about as well. So, we've got some good stuff. We told the folks that we're going to come with some educational content. And so we've got Sibo, then we've got biotech, and we've also got, I just want to kind of come market this a little bit. We're going to have how to trade earnings season with Sami Abusad from T3. T3, if you guys have watched pre-market prep, he was on, I believe, today. So if you guys enjoyed that, he's going to actually do a show with us on the 26th. We're figuring out the details there. And then we're going to have a webinar with him on the 27th. So learn how to trade shares, not options, trade shares when it comes to earnings seasons.
Always listen to the conference call first, right, Zunaid?
What's up, buddy?
Always listen to the conference call first before you trade the stock after earnings.
Everyone has their risk tolerance. For me, I'll go in with like 10% of my size. So typically if I buy like say 100 shares of Tesla, I'll buy like 10 just so I can get my fix in. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think everyone should have their own risk management. No question on that whatsoever.
Apple here, by the way, new lows here. Apple kind of hunting for lows. Maybe they heard Nick and 13 just absolutely thrashing the Vision Pro. And I'm just kidding here. Apple is moving over to the lows here. Chewy, man, oh man, I should have been looking at this maybe for some shares here. I know I just finished up a profitable options trade on this Chewy. Huge move here. The reason that I say it's huge, let me bring up the Benzinga Pro chart here. We'll take a look at Chewy. Again, just kind of reminding you the formation that we're making here on the daily. This is bullish, folks. I do think this move might measure up to 30. We'll see if we get a pullback here. Maybe we'll reload some of those options.
Yeah, BR pushing a little bit higher, but volume still not very good.
Man, Chewy.
LRHC broke down through VWAP, looking for some support. Palantir also kind of down near VWAP as well, but it seems to be slowing down its descent. Airship still trying to look for VWAP. Might get that move pretty soon. How's all the GME and all those plays doing? It looks like came back in a little bit, trying to get ready to go again.
Yeah,
this AMC been the strongest one, it seems.
Yeah, the GME was this kind of slowed down after that recent move up here. I agree with you. AMC clearly the outperformer here today in terms of its movement.
By the way, I took a meta put, by the way. No, you're good. I interrupted. Meta put 500 strike expiring this week. Keep in mind the market is closed tomorrow for Juneteenth. But I did take a meta short as it tries to test 500. My stop loss will be if it cracks, say 501.50 or so. My average fill, I believe, was about 520 on those.
Okay, so you probably want to see a crack of that 497.50 here today, right? We actually just had Chris Capri on not long ago. One of the things that he was talking about in terms of option traders is if you're buying them today, you're going to have increased decay because you can't sell them tomorrow.
Exactly.
So I think that if you saw this 497.50 break, you'd probably be in good shape there.
Yeah, so I purchased two. One I would sell when we get to call it about 498s, and the other I would hold till about 496. And I would have loved to ask him, is that not priced into the options? Because the world knows that the market is closed tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be curious if that's not kind of priced in. So instead of me paying 560 for it, I'm paying 520 for it. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people forgot.
No way, really?
Yeah, the market generally doesn't forget, but from what he was saying, it doesn't see. He seemed to expect some more theta. Really quickly want to highlight this comment. Purgatory Park, the chat had some epic calls today. Nice work. That's what this chat does, Purgatory Park, and I appreciate you shouting that out. This is how we can all help each other here. Really good stuff from our chat here today. Chewy looks like it's going for more highs here. What a move on Chewy.
Yeah, I just am making that comment because I'm still finding out today that people aren't aware of the market closure tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I said that real quick.
But they're probably not the bigger players in the market. You were saying.
Sure.
Go ahead.
You're for sure correct.
No, you're right. As far as I was just getting to what Jay's Life was asking, he wanted us to look at EXPD or HPQ and tell me what they think. We think. I mean, I'll tell you with HPQ, I think we need to see 37 get recaptured. We had a nice bounce off the near the 20-day SMA, and it's recovering. But after that big old pop, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, back at the end of May. We haven't been able to get back up there. So I think 37 needs to get recaptured if we're going to talk about more upside.
Yeah, 37 going to be the high of the day on June 12th. That high is actually 36.98. Let's just call it 37. Here's your clean bounce off to 20. I think in Jay's trade plan here, he'd be looking for this to kind of take that level out and go towards the high end of that stick. Let us know there, though, Jay. HPQ. What was the other one he wanted to take a look at? We can do that. EXPD.
Yeah.
Expeditors International. Not even sure I've ever looked at this stock here. This actually another bounce off the 20-day. Maybe we can take this area out here. 127. Recent highs here 131. What does this do?
This is actually probably going to be better in the long run. Do you remember that? What was that one stock that had a crazy spike one day? One of our happy hour attendees was in there, and she had it.
Oh, LPA.
Yes,
LPA.
Logistics could end up being a very, very big sector as we get into more of these emerging markets. That's one of the reasons. I think that's the big reason why LPH did what it did. This is air and freight logistics, EXPD. So this could be an emerging market play. I don't know that that's why it's moving today, but this is a lot more interesting than HPQ in my opinion. HPQ. Now that's the consumer side of Hewlett Packard, right?
Yes, HPE is the enterprise side.
Right. So I think HPQ, with the way that the consumer's headed, might not be as robust as HPE, and I don't think it's going to be as good as EXPD. EXPD is a different sector altogether, and I think EXPD is definitely something I'm going to be wanting to pay attention to and look at some more. I don't know anything about this company except that air and freight logistics has been interesting to me since we started talking about emerging markets.
Okay. Really good stuff there.
Smoke Tuna mentioning FWRD.
Look at Lazy Boy here, by the way. This popping here on earnings.
Yeah, they had earnings yesterday. Pretty decent report, actually, overall.
Yeah, they actually took another leg up here in the market and are holding it so far. Nice little move there, Lazy Boy.
So FWRD is like the one I was just talking about, the logistics one. So I'm going to write both of these down and take a look at these.
Okay.
EXPD and FWRD. Thank you for those guys.
Our chat does it once again, folks. Zunaid, are you taking over here at 11:30?
Nah, it'll still be. I got a call. It'll be Paul Meeks and AT producing. I'm just coming to kick it, hang out.
Okay. So do I end it?
AT will come on here and
just leave it up and let AT take it over. Okay,
yep.
cool.
I mentioned the trade that I had, so I added more, so I'm just gonna show that to y'all.
Go ahead.
I now have 4 contracts. Oh, I can't even. Oh, there it is. Here's how I do it. I now have 4 contracts. My average price is about $5.08. $5 is where it's trading, so I'm down $60 to the meta trade. So we'll see how it goes. My target, right, because I'm gonna be in meetings here, and then I'll obviously have the CBO webinar, which, by the way, I'm really excited for, just because it's short dated contract trading, especially the tax advantages you get. I think is fun and beneficial for us to learn about. But I'm going to sell 2 when we get to 298.50-ish, and then I'm going to see if we can get to 296s to sell 1 more, and then the rest I will maybe swing and maybe do a spread, maybe pull something that Anne-Marie and Sandra have kind of taught us. So maybe do a spread so I can lock in my gains, and break even will be the worst case scenario if it gets down to about the 195, should be 197s or so here later on today. That's what we got.
Okay, good luck. Good luck on the trade.
So I was just getting asked, about Hollow. When do we think it's going to turn around? I don't think you're going to really see anything meaningfully come out of Hollow until maybe September, and here's why. This is really silly. If you look at a daily chart of Hollow, you can see that all these big spikes that have happened have either been in September or beginning of the year around February. Every time. September, February. You go back to 2022, September 2022. That's when we had that first one. Second one, January and February 2023. Nothing until about August to September of 2023. And then September, it just completely sold off again. And then it come up to February 2024, this year. We spiked again. So this is the pattern that I'd be seeing. And I'd be waiting for something to happen toward the end of the summer. Around
set your alert. Set your alert, and you need to make that alert very specific. It needs to be hollow, YOLO, JOLO. And if possible, the computer needs to say it to you, because clearly that's the way that we've kind of looked at this hollow alert.
Oh man, I'm gonna have all kinds of sirens.
Yeah, I know, it's gonna be wild.
You know, all that stuff.
I like your impression of that super annoying air horn. That was rather amusing, to be quite honest with you. All right.
All right, Ryan.
Let me
It's
ping
time.
you.
I'm gonna head out. It's about 11:30. It's lunchtime.
Enjoy. Don't show up
Oh,
tomorrow,
all right.
Nick, but we'll see you on Thursday.
Oh, I'll be sleeping in tomorrow. Don't worry.
Sleeping in for
Oh,
me
yeah,
means
right.
6 a.m. instead of 5:30, but I'll be
Yes.
with you.
Yep. See you
I'll be on
everybody
the
on
T box
Thursday.
at 7:30.
See everybody on Thursday. Have a great rest of the day. Fed speakers at 1 o'clock. There's 4 of them. So be on the lookout. And other than that, that's all I got for you.
All right, Nick, thanks
you,
for
Nick.
hanging out. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, my man.
Thanks. See everybody
Okay,
Thursday.
Nick.
Take care, Nick.
Cool. All right. I went ahead and lied to you. We will end the stream here in about 30 seconds because it'll redirect to Paul Meeks. I didn't realize he had his own link. The man is special. Very good stuff that he provides. So make sure you guys check that out. And again, we will have that webinar with SIBO after the fact as well. So you'll be redirected from here to Paul Meeks. And then from Paul Meeks, we will do a webinar with SIBO. So hang tight. You don't have to press a button. We'll take care of the whole travel plan for you.
All right, so you're going to take care of that. I'll see you. 13, we'll see you.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Absolutely. And there you go. There is the stream in the chat if you guys want to hang out for the SIBO one. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Again, a lot of great stuff coming up. And now get ready